This meeting of the Westport Historical Commission is now in session. Members present, all who are voting, Mark Thompson, Katrina Strozik, Ward Mooney, Deborah Chiolfi, Garrett Stuck, William Kendall, and Timothy Bryant. First order of business is the minutes of the meetings of June 24th, July 1st, and July 23rd. Two of those were special meetings. And I've got, didn't pass these around, but basically those were meetings where we went into executive session. And so this is just paragraph reporting who was present at the meeting, why we were going into executive session. The minutes of the executive session itself are separate, and we'll consider those in executive session if we haven't already. So if you just want to have a quick look, like I said, it's just a list of who was present. As this one. Okay, and then you've all received the minutes of meeting of July 1st. And I brought some extra copies with my comments. I'll just tell you briefly what my comments are. Some of them are just typos. I won't go over those. Paragraph 3A. Let's see, third sentence. GS and WK determined that although the structure, and here's a change, although the structure was attached to a historical barn at one time, it is not a historically significant building.
Can you add this change?
Yes, and Deborah had a change to paragraph 2D, beginning of the second page. It says will be a different brand. It's actually the same brand. It's also a color brand. Okay. Item number 5, under general business. There's a sentence about midway through that paragraph. GS said that the granite cladding on the new foundation at 2040 Main Road, and the sentence ends, and so it should say looked very authentic. Okay. Under B, topics not reasonably anticipated. Number 1, just really a typo, a word change. And then the last sentence of number 1, talking about Mark Thompson, his appointment will be approved by the select board. Change that to his appointment is expected to be approved by the select board. Yep. Any comments on the minutes? Any other corrections, changes?
I don't have any others.
I don't have any.
Okay, I think we could.
I move to approve the minutes from the June 24th meeting, or is it July 1?
I think we could do them all.
Do them all at the
Yep.
same time?
Yep.
Okay. You want to
If you
move
want.
to approve the minutes of meetings June 24, July 1, and July 23,
As amended.
as amended.
And you're okay doing that for the executive session?
Well, these are not for the.
Session is just who's attended.
Okay, so we'll approve
Yeah,
those
that's
separately.
the open meeting part
Okay,
of the executive session.
okay.
Can I have a second?
Yes, is there a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes. Okay, next item is treasurer's report, and there is no treasurer's report this month. So we move on to applications for certificate of appropriateness. First one is 46 Cape Isle Lane, Henry Frisch, new garage.
Does that come up?
You can come up, and can I just make a point about who's on the commission, and because some of us are on the commission and near the property, and there was a question before our meeting began whether we're allowed to vote on this, and I just want to read this into the record, that we are allowed to vote because we do not have a conflict of interest. Both Katrina and I live near Henry, but neither of us abut his property.
Actually, I abut him.
You abut?
Yes.
Okay, then you have to recuse.
I recuse.
All right, but I do not abut Henry's property, so I can still vote? So you have to recuse, anyone else does, none of the others abut. But that's the only condition, you have to abut the property.
Okay.
So since you are in a butter, you can't vote. But I can, because I'm not in a butter, and it's not a conflict of interest, I can remain impartial, so. All good, thank you.
Okay, you guys all have a packet? you
Yeah,
got the drawings.
I think we all received it, yeah.
Yes.
It's
I
a
didn't print
very,
the whole thing.
very simple project. Henry has wanted to have.
Yeah, would you mind just stating your name for the record?
My name is Timothy Gillespie. I represent Homeworks Incorporated, which is actually run by my son now, who is the applicant. But he's in Canada, so I'm sitting in for him. Yes, and Homeworks is a Westport company, been around for a long time. And this application is for a one-car garage that Henry Frisch has wanted for a very long time. And because it is in close proximity to wetlands, it went through the Conservation Commission and he filed a notice of intent, and they received an order of conditions. And they said it was okay for him to build this garage. So the next step is to get a stamp from you guys if possible. But it's a really simple building. It's just one car and a little shop on the end. And it's white cedar shingles on the outside, white trim, in keeping with the house that's there and other houses in the vicinity. The windows are divided light. There are 2 doors with 9 light sashes on them. And it would be an overhead door facing Cape Bottom Lane.
Do you have, I don't see a drawing of the overhead door.
I
mean,
think there's.
I may have,
I see it open.
Here, it's an opening. It's not, the door isn't closed in this opening.
it would be a door with some lights across the top, fairly traditional, standard overhead door.
And which end of the building do you see from
That's the one that faces Cape Bottom Lane.
Here's the driveway.
where the,
Here's Cape Bottom,
where the garage door is?
and it would be tucked into these bushes here.
Mhm.
I mean, presumably, if you didn't have any of these bushes, you'd see the side of the building. I don't know if you could even see the door.
Side or the end?
I think you'd see, you'd have to, you pull into the garage from the.
Yeah, because it is offset. If you look at the page with photographs of the site, it's not gonna be real visible from the
There's
road.
the other,
This one.
this one here. Yeah, this is from, that's from Cape Bottom.
Mhm. Any questions or comments from the commission?
What kind of car can fit in there? It's very small,
A
right?
small
Well,
one.
it's a standard
Huh.
garage. I mean, it's gonna have a 9-foot wide opening. And you have a small car.
That's good.
Could you pass that this way?
But it's a basic garage.
Tim, here's the car looks in the garage.
Yeah, no, that's good.
With me.
I think it's great.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so this requires a public hearing, so I hereby open the public hearing. Are there any comments from the public about the
Can I participate as an abutter?
I think you're recused. I mean, you can ask questions just like a member of the public.
Yeah,
but
that's
not
what
as
I'm
a
asking,
commissioner.
if I can participate as a public person.
As a member of the public, yes. Pass these down to Tim.
Thank you.
Yes, Katrina?
Katrina Strozek. Just curious, Hi, just curious. So, Mr. Frisch's home was built in 1938, and one of the details on the building is an octagonal window on the top of the garage.
Yeah.
And can you just say a little bit more about that choice as opposed to something
It
a little
was-
bit more traditional?
It's facing away from the road, so you won't be able to see it.
Oh, that's on the house
It's
side?
on the house side, it's on the south side.
Okay.
I don't think I put one on the other side.
Yeah, it's just on the one elevation.
Yeah, it's just on the
Here.
south side,
That's where it is.
right.
south elevation.
Any other comments or questions from the public? Okay, so the public hearing is closed, and we'll move on to any discussion from the commission.
I walk down that street all the time, and I think this fits in very nicely with the house that's existing.
I do as well, and I think it's very nice with the house that exists.
And I think we need to make an annotation about the style of the garage door, since it's not represented here.
Oh, I can, well, it isn't dimensioned there.
There's dimension of the,
It's open, and it seems to be
Just shows an
open in
opening.
every door, in every drawing.
If you look on the floor plan, sheet A4, there's a width measurement of 9 feet. And if you look on drawing A3, there's a height measurement. It's basically going to be a 7-foot tall door, which is a standard garage door.
but what's the style?
It probably would be flat panel with glass across the top, or raised panel. I don't know. I hadn't discussed it with Henry.
It's likely to be, what, four horizontal divisions,
Yeah,
and the top panel has got, divided lights, and you might have 4 of those across the, 4 window sections across the top.
yeah, it would probably have 5 or 6 glass panels across the top.
Yeah.
If you want, I can draw something up and put it in and consult with Henry, make sure it's what he wants. Didn't even think of it.
Yeah, I think that's an important detail, because that's what's going
All right,
to face the road.
I can do that.
Just
I
wait.
will send it to the commission by PDF.
Well, can you make a quick sketch for us?
Absolutely.
Great.
So we have a ballpark, and
Why don't you
then
sketch it on this set?
Okay.
and then the final would have to be approved by the monitors.
And then the question is, the trim detailing and the rake boarding, is that match the house? Is that?
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
flat 1x6 corner boards and
Yeah, yeah.
basic fascia, and it'll have gutters, I'm sure.
Oh, we will? Okay.
May I suggest that in relation to the garage door, you're very likely, given the choices we have, to be able to select that. And so there's the graphics that are representative of the company that you're using. It's much more expensive to do a custom door of that sort, and they are
This won't be a
reproducible.
custom door, it'll be a standard door.
Right. So if you just sent the selection from
I can do
catalog, that would be the simplest.
All right, don't need a sketch.
Well, though we
No,
can't vote on
I think we
that.
need a sketch,
Sketch
so we
now.
know, so we have an approximation of what you're planning.
Do you want me to draw over this perspective?
No, I
drawing,
think
or
you
just
can draw a
in the front?
Just
freestanding. yeah.
freestanding, what the door's gonna look like.
Yeah.
Note the materials.
It's just a procedure.
Yeah.
Is there a chance you all could get closer to the microphone so that we all can hear you? There's so many of us and there's an echo. So
Okay.
if you could talk into the microphone.
You want me to talk into the microphone
Well,
better?
Here you can.
My brother would not approve of this drawing. Roughly.
Tim, would that have, would this be divided up with panels, or is it just flat?
It'd have panels below, right?
There are panels that,
I mean, they're just straight,
yeah,
okay, well, the kind of door that has been approved in the district in the past has had not raised panels, but sunken panels or raised panels.
okay, yeah, we can do that, that's easy.
If you can, could you draw that on there?
I'm really stretching my abilities here.
That matches the doors that are in the district.
Right.
Yeah. I think you could just indicate raised panels.
Yeah, you don't have to draw them, just say,
Okay.
just call it out.
Or a sunken panel.
And then as Mark was suggesting, if you give us the cut sheet to go with this,
Yeah,
monitors
I'll
can.
consult with Henry and and see what he wants to
Okay,
do.
and you can send that to us, and then the monitors have a guideline when they monitor the project,
Sure.
okay?
Yep.
It's likely that those are just online, so.
Oh, yeah.
Process.
I will.
Want to sign some monitors? Or
Well,
have to vote
we haven't
first?
voted yet.
Yes, we have to vote first.
Okay, so we have the proposal amended with a sketch of a garage door, proposed garage door. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote.
Mark Thompson approves.
Ward Mooney approves.
Deborah Chialfi, aye.
Garrett Stuck, aye.
William Kendall, aye.
Timothy Bryan, aye.
Okay, your certificate is approved.
Thank you.
So we have to assign monitors.
Monitors,
I'll be a
yes.
monitor.
Okay, I'll be a monitor too.
You too?
Yep.
Okay, me and Gary are your monitors.
So you guys are monitors,
Yep.
all right?
And so you let us know, well, first you're going to communicate with us about the actual door that you're putting in.
Yep.
Send me a cut sheet.
And Levin has worked with you guys.
Yeah, I have
before,
Levin's email
so
too.
he'll notify you when things are
Right.
getting rolling.
Yeah, and then you let us know when you start, let us know when you finish,
Okay.
let us know if there are any changes.
Okay.
Can you sign?
Should we have Tim, why don't
Tim,
you
can you
just
sign?
initial or sign that?
Initial.
Oh, you did? Okay, great.
Okay,
Great.
good, got you.
My official signature.
Official. I need another
Okay.
commissioner.
Okay, you done with me?
We are done with you, thank you, sir.
Excellent. Thank you.
Katrina, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you back.
Did you want to?
I'll take those, but I like the signed one for the file.
Is it okay? Yeah.
I think this is your. Okay.
Okay. Next item, 1913 Drift Road, Russell Baker Outdoor Shower. Is Russell Baker here?
Well-
I think we are not allowed to consider.
He's not here to represent, or anybody to represent him.
Yeah.
So should we continue it and reach out to him for?
I don't think we can. I think he has to reapply, right? Because he would have to agree to the continuance.
I don't know, he has to do a whole new application?
Yes, he does.
It is noticed.
In case he's late, do it later.
We can delay.
We try,
We can
try
delay.
delay,
Yeah.
try to
Does
text him.
anybody want to, call
I'll
him?
text him.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, next item. 2015 Main Road, ANC Realty Trust, construct pool complex in Pergola. It continued from July 3rd hearing, and it was originally, this application was originally presented at the February 5, 2026 hearing, and it's been continued every month since then. So we have Sean Leach presenting on behalf of the owner.
Good evening, Chair Strach and fellow members of the Commission. I just had a few words before Mr. Leach starts his presentation. My name is Kelly Jordan Price. I'm an attorney at the law firm of Hinckley Allen in Boston. I'm here tonight representing Robert Bronca, trustee of the ANC Realty Trust, who's the applicant in this matter. I want to thank everyone for the opportunity to appear before you this evening. I would like to take a few moments to provide the commission with some background on how we arrived at this point before turning it over to Mr. Leach. Back in the spring of 2023, Mr. Bronca undertook a project to construct an in-ground pool and spa with a surrounding concrete retaining wall on his property. He engaged licensed engineers and other qualified professionals to design the project and to obtain the necessary permits. His professionals applied for and obtained 2 separate building permits from the Westport Building Commissioner, one for the pool and spa and a second for the retaining wall. Construction then commenced. We understand that as part of the permitting process, the Building Commissioner's office conferred with a representative of the Historical Commission regarding whether an additional approval was required from the commission before issuing the permits. In November of 2023, and during the course of construction, questions arose as to whether the project also required a certificate of appropriateness from this commission. I mention this only as background for newer members of the commission. The town's bylaw provides for certain structures, including walls, as well as swimming pools, that are not subject to view from a public way as being outside the commission's jurisdiction. Mr. Bronca, having obtained proper building permits and relying on his licensed professionals, had no reason to believe that anything was being done improperly. That said, we're not here this evening to relitigate jurisdictional issues. We're here to move forward in good faith. While Mr. Bronca has maintained his position that no certificate is required, in December 2023, he nevertheless appeared before this commission and filed applications for both a certificate of non-applicability and a certificate of appropriateness. When those applications were denied, Mr. Bronca exercised his right to appeal those decisions to Bristol Superior Court. The town also initiated a separate enforcement action, and 4 neighboring property owners intervened in those litigations, which have all been consolidated. The litigations remain pending. What I would like to emphasize this evening, however, is not the history of the litigation, but rather the spirit of cooperation and good faith that has brought us here tonight. While reserving all rights with respect to the pending court proceedings, Mr. Bronca voluntarily filed an application with this commission for a certificate for a revised plan. More importantly, over the course of the past month, and actually in the recent months, but most notably in the last several weeks, Mr. Bronca and the interveners, the neighbors who had raised concerns about the project, sat down together and worked collaboratively to agree upon the elements of a revised plan. That collaborative effort resulted in a settlement agreement between Mr. Bronca and the interveners, as well as a separate procedural agreement among Mr. Bronca, the interveners, and the town to stay those pending litigations while this application proceeds. These agreements reflect a shared commitment to work towards resolving this matter constructively and to present the commission with a revised plan that we believe addresses all of the concerns that have been raised. We are grateful for the willingness of the interveners in the town to work with Mr. Bronca towards a resolution, and we are very hopeful that the commission will find the revised plan that Mr. Leach is about to present to be appropriate and will approve the project as presented this evening, which will allow all of the parties, Mr. Bronca, the interveners, and the town, to move forward without the time, expense, and uncertainty of prolonged litigation. So again, we thank you very much for your time this evening. And at this point, unless any of the commission members has any questions, I will turn it over to Mr. Leach.
I would like to just say one thing. I wish you had started your speech with the very last page where you said you're grateful that you want to meet with us and come to a resolution. I personally do not appreciate the revisiting history that you just recited. There are many things that you said that I could take exception to, but I'm not going to go there because we are also in a spirit of cooperation tonight, and we would like to resolve this. So it's unfortunate that you set the tone the way you did, but that is what it is. We'd like to move forward with this project, and we look forward to the presentation by Sean. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, I should mention that there was one member who was not present at that original February 5th meeting. That's Katrina Strozik. Katrina, would you confirm that you watched the video of that?
I did.
Okay. So you are eligible to vote. Okay.
Go back.
Sean.
Okay. So I think we're all familiar with the site and what's going on there. And this is the site plan, the new site plan, with some differences that I'll point out right now. Currently, as we all know, there's one level wall here that surrounds this whole footprint of the the west of the house. What's gonna happen now, the major changes are these. This section here, which I'll call the pool section, for lack of a better term, is gonna be cut down basically about 4 feet. So they're gonna saw cut right at this point here. This is an equipment room where the equipment for the pool and the spa will be, it'll be covered up. So it's a benefit to have it, so there's no noise or concerns with neighbors. It's gonna wrap around, and the other saw cut down to elevation 12.5, which is about a 4-foot cut, will happen right here where these steps go up, the upper patio. The upper patio is going to be at elevation 17, which is about 1.5 feet lower than the threshold of the existing house, and is currently at that elevation right now, and was previously at the same elevation where the former septic system was. Previously, we had a spa in this area. The spa is being moved up against the house as far east as we can get it. So it's hidden in here, where before it was out in this area here, which is the lower patio. The second major thing is we've eliminated the pergola that was over on the south side of what I'll call the upper patio. And the countertop is being moved from the countertop, the cooktop, whatever you want to refer to, is being moved from here up against the house on this side. So it's tucked inside the L of the house. So those are the major changes. Again, 4-foot cut here. This is staying the same. The steps going up to this upper patio, but from this point on, it's all being lowered 4 feet.
Sean, I just want to offer this to you. This is the picture that you and I exchanged
I
in
have
email.
it.
Okay,
Yeah, I have
and
a- I
then
have
the
that
line
picture
drawing that you did.
Here that we can look at.
So I think that this was very helpful. Thank you.
So the second plan I'll show you, basically, is just a lighting plan. And the lighting plan now is very minimal. It's going to be lights in the pool, we have submitted the full plans of lighting, no overhead lighting, but just basically step lights for safety going along here, what they call eyelid lights that shine down on the steps, just so that in the evening or at night, we climb the steps safely. Same thing over here with the steps. Before we had a pergola that had overhead lights, that's all been eliminated.
Yeah, thank you.
No more lights. And then just typical lighting around the house itself, nothing changes on the house itself. I'll go back to this. So the site plan, there's two views I'm going to show you. One is a profile from this way, and one is a profile from the water looking up. I think one of the concerns is the view from the river. So I want to highlight those. So here's the profile looking, I'll call from the Hardy property down across to the house and to the existing patio, and where we're proposing to put the pool. What you see here basically is an elevation of the house, the rear part of the house. This is the upper patio here. We have a horizontal cable railing, 36 inches high, just for safety, because it drops down basically from 17 to elevation 12.5, where the pool area will be. The pool area, this line you see here with the vertical, will be the pool fence. Required 48-inch pool fence by Massachusetts code. The pool itself will be down here. Now there's a very light gray line you see here, which is the elevation of the existing property line wall. At the beginning of this, most of the pool will be hidden, but as the topography drops off and the pool stays level, there will be, in this area here, a little visual of the pool wall that will be remaining, but it won't be as dramatic. Before, we were up here, and it was very dramatic. This can be hidden, and the plan is, according to the site plan, is to do landscape. So I have a picture here that shows where the wall is now, where the wall will be. It'll be slightly lower than that property line wall on that side of the house. I also have a picture of the greenhouse. It's going to be removed. It's going to be, and I think it was agreed, basically going to be a membrane roof over the greenhouse as part of the upper deck. And there'll be a walkout over there. That will be hidden by already existing carpenters. You won't see that. And the deck, this is a rendering of what the deck basically is going to kind of look like underneath the elevation of the house. So, view from the water. So looking back at the water, we're looking at the elevations here, this is what's gonna happen. Current elevation of the patio area, 17 dash line. Railing will be at elevation about 20. The railing for the pool, basically, is gonna be 16 and a half, but the pool itself will be 12 and a half. It'll be almost invisible between a real stone facade and landscaping, so it'll be very low. Up here, it'll be about 1.5 feet. A wall showing over towards the south. It's more like 3 feet, but there's a property line wall. Again, the top of the wall is elevation 12.7. The pool elevation is 12.5.
Sean, excuse me, can you enlarge your images?
Sure. Absolutely.
Mr. Chair, it's hard for us to see anything.
Yeah, that was.
His name on the left side of the
Do
screen.
you want to share these plans in the room? These are the same things that he's showing.
Is this better or?
Yes.
Can you turn it a little?
That is better, yeah. Can we,
Sean, if you stand on the other side of the screen, we don't see it better.
That's better.
Here we go. So again, the elevation top of the pool 12 and a half, elevation of the existing wall at the pool is 12.7, the property line wall. There is a 4-foot requirement for a vertical slat fence around a pool as required by building code. The elevation, this dash line you see here of the patio is 17, it's 1.5 feet lower. It's the same elevation of the septic system that used to be there. It does have a 3-foot railing because now there's a 4-foot drop between the upper patio and the pool area. And there will be steps coming down. The steps that come up the side will be stone. These will all be landscaped and a stone wall. This door exists, it already exists, and it shows just like that, there's nothing new. The equipment room, which is slightly lower than the patio, will remain and be screened and landscaped.
So which wall exists?
This door,
Oh,
this
that-
walkout already
So
exists.
what's surrounding the septic system right now, or was? Do you have any existing condition
So
pictures
the
of
septic
that?
system, you see this mount here?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just curious why the pool, the deck outside the house is so tall. Is that all new? It would appear to me that you have a very tall wall for the patio area. Why is it at that elevation and not lower?
There's already an existing grade of 17 here. Where
And how does that grade end? Is it a big retaining wall?
I can show, I'll.
Do you have a section for that?
I have an existing condition plan in front of the.
But if you've got that elevation and then it goes off, you've got to put a retaining wall in there to stop it from doing that, right?
Right, that's what we're doing. Basically, we're cutting the toe of that slope off and pushing the retaining wall.
Yeah, but so that's a new wall that's holding up the top area of the patio. I mean, I'm not sure if everyone understands that, but that,
Let me go to, I can go, after I do this presentation, I'll run to that
Thank you.
septic plan, and I can explain what you
do you
guys.
have pictures of that on your
Yes.
computer? Okay, I'd like to see those.
So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm right. This is what the profile looks like. We purposely, let me scroll down. I painted a mark, a white mark, I don't know if you can see that. It kind of disappeared with all the rain we had, unfortunately. But basically where the cut was for the elevation of the wall is 12 and a half in relation to what's there now. You can see the difference of magnitude between the existing wall and where it's going to be.
That's 4 feet of being cut off.
Yeah.
Could you put your finger through it so we can see? I think go back up there and, so we can see it better. You said there's a line, but show us the line.
Show us.
Sorry.
I'm not sure which line.
It's-
The white, you talk about the white mark that he
Red
made?
mark.
Oh, right, Mark. Oh, right here.
Betty, you can have this, Betty. It's the
I
same
have
one.
another, I have a better picture of that.
Right? Do you see the dark line going across there?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much
It's a
it.
little bit lower than that.
Yeah.
And
So
it's the
Sean-
yellow line in the elevation.
So maybe this is a little easier with this picture here, I'm sorry. So, you know, showing basically the same elevation, obviously not identical, but showing where the equipment area room is going to. That's pretty
Touch that.
Yeah.
Touch it.
The approximate wall location, and this is kind of hard because the perspective is not exactly 90 degrees wall, will show where the new wall, where the wall will be cut at elevation 12.5. Where the patio, this yellow line you see here, which is going to be elevation 17, that's where the patio will be up against the house, within the L open house area.
Sean, can you help me understand where the cut is, right? So when you say the wall is 12.5 feet tall,
It's elevation 12.5. So right now, the elevation at the top of the wall is 16.4.
Okay.
So you're cutting it 3.9 feet.
okay, so if I'm standing next to the wall, how tall is the wall?
8 feet.
Okay,
Yeah, in this
is that
forest area-
before or after the cut?
Before.
Okay, so I'm gonna stand against the wall, because I don't have access, right? So I'm gonna go over to the wall, stand there, it's 8 feet tall, you're gonna cut it 4 feet, so now the wall is 4 feet tall.
At the worst section, which is that southwest corner of the pool area. So the grade, as you can see here, the grade picks up as you come across here. Yeah.
I think he answered that before, in that the height of the walls, that yellow line that showed, is that elevation, something point
16.4, actually.
and the 3-foot stone wall on the other side of their driveway, you want to point that out, right there, is about 1 or 2 inches higher than what it will be, to give you a little perspective.
Okay.
So let me just ask, if you have a comment, please,
I raised my hand, sorry.
yeah, please raise your hand
You're right.
and
Wrong.
give us your name
Jeff Wade.
for the record. David.
What is the base?
Can you state
from
your
which-
name, please, David?
David Cole. What is the base from which the elevations are measured?
It's, okay, so it's the North American Vertical Datum of 1988. That sounds fancy, but basically, to give you a reference point, mean high water in that datum is 1.7. So this is at elevation 12.5, so you're about 11 feet higher than mean high water. I don't know if that's helpful. It's a datum that is used for engineering purposes. So it's a relative, we use that for everything, because it's a place on planet Earth that we can all measure from.
But it doesn't give us any sense of absolute height, but just a relative height of the different structures, is that right?
Okay, so it's elevation 12.5. Currently, right now, where it was excavated down in the southwest corner is elevation 8.5.
Yeah.
Up here towards the doorway is elevation 10.5. So there's like a 2-foot gradient going up. So it'll be like I said, 2 feet here and 4 feet there.
Okay.
By an existing grade, the plan is to grade it off, so this is level and it hides more of the wall, but currently that's what it is.
All right.
So Sean, if the wall is 4 feet tall, if I'm standing next to it and it's 4 feet tall,
Yeah.
how deep is the pool?
Well, I'm not sure how deep the pool is going to be. One of the problems we have and the challenges of what we're doing here, cutting it down and what we're expecting, down near the water, there's very obvious ledge outcrops on this particular site, which are elevation 6.5. The hope is that the ledge is getting lower so that we can dig at least a 6-foot pool.
And if you can't?
That's something we're going to have to decide at that point what's going to happen. Because the whole point that why it was raised was the concern is, and the test pits of the septic system showed it, the ledge is very prevalent in this area, which is probably why no one ever built much here. Yeah. So it's going to be a difficult thing to say, is it 6 feet down without doing a test pit there, or is it 8 feet down? You know, you hope it's 10 feet down and it goes away. We don't know that right now.
So when was the decision to raise it made?
I think it was from the beginning, it was put at that elevation.
So it's not
So are you
technically,
gonna-
so it's not technically an in-ground pool?
You depend what you call an in-ground pool, yes.
Well, an above-ground pool is in a retaining wall, right? That's not in-ground, if the intent was to avoid that ledge rock. Just curious.
So are you gonna try to dig down before you cut the wall? Or are you gonna cut the wall and hope that you can dig down?
Seems,
We're gonna cut the wall first and hope we dig. It may come down to a very shallow pool.
Jeff?
That was the point. I think the point I was going to ask is what you're setting is the top of that pool and terrace down there. And that's set, right, Sean?
Yeah.
And depending on how far they can dig is how far the pool's going to be. So I think as far as you're concerned, you know the height of this terrace and the stone wall that's going around it. And that's not changing, I believe. It's just the depth of the pool, which who cares? You know, let them have a 2-foot pool, let them have a 4-foot pool, whatever they can get, they'll get. So as long as you keep the terrace there, then that's what you're concerned with, because that's what you see, right?
I believe so, yeah. I understand what you're trying to say. It's kind of a half dozen of one, six of another. We don't know what we're going to encounter, or whether we encounter over the whole section of the pool, part of the pool. It's hard to really say. But definitely the ledge down at the water is at 6.5.
So if you decided to raise it before, and you did no test pits to find out where any of the ledge was below it, it was an assumption? So you didn't dig down to check?
We have not dug down.
Interesting. And why not? I'm just curious.
Well, obviously, because when we had the pool at 16.5.
You didn't need to.
Right.
But so you made that decision, but so you didn't make any exploration prior to doing that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So can you excavate now and find out?
We probably could after the wall cut. Right now it's
Is there a deck on the top of it?
on top of the
wall?
Not right now.
So
No,
there's
it's
a big hole right inside.
Yeah, basically it's just a wall.
Yeah, but you can get inside that, right?
Well, there's a steel.
Sean?
steel reinforcing.
Sean, are you anticipating that as you get closer to the house, it would become a deeper pool? Is that what the expectation is? So as you get toward the water, it might be more of a reflecting pool or a wading pool, but as you get closer to the house, it might be deeper?
It may be, like I said, it may be a reconfiguration of the pool. It could be, a severe size decrease of the pool. It's really hard to say.
Yeah, but it's we're talking tonight about the height of the wall and what's going to be clad on the wall to make it fit in with and have it congruous with the neighboring properties. That's what we're talking about tonight.
The decision has been made that 12.5 is where we're going to put the wall. If something happens or something conditions warrant, it may be a return here. It's hard to say.
So if you find that there's so much ledge that you can't even do any kind of a pool, you might come back to us and tell us you're going to build a patio? Is that what we're talking about, potentially?
Or how about rotating the pool so it's at a higher elevation on its current location? That way, the length of it is not biting into a lower elevation.
That may be a possibility.
Right?
Yeah. I'm not discounting that at all.
I mean, that might solve your problem, and I would suggest...
It may be a shift in it moving forward, right?
Right, you rotate it, and then you're not down as far. And if you did some test pits, you could find out what's below it.
Right.
And of course, you can mechanically excavate rock. It's not a hardship, is it?
It's not a hardship. I think it would be quite disruptive to the neighborhood.
Well, we're not blasting, right?
No, but I mean, even if you had a hammer in there, I think it would be disruptive.
Well, I think that's important to know, right?
Okay, at this point, I'd like to open the public hearing.
Are you done with your presentation yet, Sean?
No.
No.
Oh,
why don't you
okay,
let him finish?
let's wait a second. But there was a question.
Well, you in part answered it.
Can you
So
state your
the
name?
voting
State your-
I have a
State your name for the record.
Martha Sears. I have a comment from the public standpoint.
Should we wait until we open the hearing? for your
Yeah, let's
comment?
wait for comments. I mean,
Let's
I
have
think-
him do his presentation
At
first.
this point, I'd like to focus on questions.
We can ask questions after
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Probably get back. Final thing is, what does the fence in the pool look like? What does the vertical cable look like? So pool fencing, least obtrusive, something along this order. Sorry. think everybody's seen the horizontal type railing that's typical, that people use to, be as least intrusive visually as possible. Not necessarily this type of railing, but you can see that, you can basically see through that part of it. Even though it's way up to the house, I don't think it's going to affect any of the butters, but it's going to be way up at the house at the patio, essentially.
So there's two different fences you're saying. One is for the pool safety, the other is for the patio.
Pool safety requirement is you can't be climbable and it has to be no more than 4-inch spacing.
So that's the one on the right, the
That's correct.
black.
Yeah, so there isn't much you can do. You can't use horizontal cables
Right.
that's climbable. The safety railing at the top, you can use whatever you want. This we felt is the least intrusive of all of them.
So Sean, the pool safety fence goes around
The pool.
and the cabling fence goes up around the patio.
Correct.
Okay.
Because now there's a severe drop down to the patio, obviously. You're going from 17 to 12 and a half, so you get a 4.5 drop. I think basically that's it.
And you talked a little bit about moving the kitchen around, the outdoor kitchen. That was part of this new proposed plan, was the kitchen being tucked back.
So originally, if you remember, sorry, if you don't remember, there was a pergola and a cooking area on this side of the upper patio. Cooking area is being moved up against here. Pergola is eliminated.
So no pergola at all?
No pergola.
Okay. Good to know.
Can we see some pictures of what was there? I'm just interested about this concrete wall that you've called out that's next to the patio. So we're focusing on the pool deck being cut down, but this is a new wall, isn't it?
So this is going to be a little bit different. Why can't there we go? So I'll try to do this as best I can.
Can you zoom in with your fingers? No, huh?
What if you touch the magnifying glass with your finger?
That's certain.
For some reason,
Is it frozen?
There you go.
okay. So here's was the existing conditions prior to the pool being put in, prior to anything. This was done by another firm. And what happened was, you see this area here, 17.2 was the highest grade right here.
Right.
And there was a septic tank, an existing septic system, and it came out to elevation 15 up here.
Yeah.
Up to 12.
But-
There's a wall, a retaining wall right here.
But it was only 17 it only was at elevation 17 for how much?
Well, pretty much just in the corner.
Right, so now we have a giant rectangle that is at 17.
Right.
Right.
Well, we also had elevation 15, where now we have 12 and a half.
So you're saying
The pool
it's
starts right in here, and that's elevation 15.
yeah. Well, you're suggesting that's a kind of a cut and fill type of
I'm
thing?
just trying to point out that
Yeah.
basically that's why you need a retaining wall.
No, I understand why we need a retaining wall, but we're focusing on this other retaining wall that we cut down, and I'm just wondering about this other retaining wall that's
I'm not sure.
at the top, well, the new retaining wall that's right here.
There's a retaining wall, this is a
Right.
retaining wall here, and there was a existing retaining wall here, with grade of 11, of 12.
Where is that on the
That's
door?
at the greenhouse, right opposite the greenhouse.
Okay, but the greenhouse is here, and then this wall is in front of the greenhouse towards the water, and it's right here, right? That's
No, the greenhouse is here.
No, I know where the greenhouse is, it says that, but this is a retaining wall at elevation 16.4 that is coming out way past the greenhouse, right over there, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
there's an existing retaining wall here,
Right.
again, with elevation 17.
Yeah, so, but you sort of squared that off. The intent is to put a retaining wall there so you could get a bigger
It's
patio.
existing right now, the existing concrete wall is there right now.
Well, where? It's not clear.
It's on the site plan. This wall is here right now.
This one is here,
Yeah,
but it's not on this drawing.
no,
So that's an existing conditions drawing.
no, it's previous to the existing conditions.
When did that wall go in?
When did this wall go in?
Well, the
That
wall,
wall went in when it.
is this wall here existing?
The house wall is, yes.
This is not the house, this is outside the house. The house is here.
Oh, I'm sorry, no.
This,
yeah,
this wall right here?
That was not existing.
Okay, when was that installed? Is that being proposed?
I'm not sure. No, that's where it's existing right now. It exists right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's just clarify the term. So, nothing that, no part of this new wall has been approved by the Historical Commission.
Right.
That's my point.
So we need to refer to that drawing, that situation, as the existing conditions.
Right.
Because what we're doing is we're talking about approving something, right? Approving a change to what that was.
Understood, yeah.
So cutting down the pool deck is good. Putting a retaining wall back in here is sort of not clear on this presentation what's happening with that, and why that's there. Was that done simultaneously with this plan with the upper deck to join together?
Yes.
Was it okay, that's what I thought. And it was raised because it was nice to be able to come out of the house onto an upper area.
Right, one step down.
So there's no reason why you considered putting steps down to a lower patio because most people don't like steps. Is that correct?
Well, there was an existing one step, the deck was a little bigger. And
Yeah.
You see, there was an existing one step down. to that
But
17.
yeah, that's not much of a deck though, right? That's a tiny little deck that was about 10 feet
Correct.
wide. And now it looks like it's about 25, it looks like it's about 30 feet long and it's about 25 feet wide. Is that correct? That length there? That's the patio right here?
Yeah, say about, yeah,
Yeah. And this is a walkway where it says composite decking.
that's already exists, that was.
That's
already-
existing.
That composite decking already exists.
So the logic was, we don't want steps going down to this patio area, we're just going to put it up at this level because it's nice and
Well,
convenient.
you stepped down and it was existing mound, I'll say.
Yeah. So,
You know, here, then it kind of slopes.
yeah,
Slope.
no, I understand.
Yeah.
But you're down, now we're down at this deck level here. I have seen projects where there are steps that go down to a lower level, so you're actually closer to the level of the pool deck. So, anyway, just curious what the existing conditions are, if those are they.
Yeah.
So, this is a new wall.
Just to be clear, yes, there's a new wall that comes out, squares off and goes around the pool
Okay,
area.
so it's 12, so that's 16'4", the top of it, and on top of that, there is a railing.
Yes,
Yeah, so we're seeing what's the top of that, on top of that. And the height differential on that is significant from the lower level, right? So
yes, 4.5 feet.
Yeah, 12, 4.5 feet. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I know this is probably a little unorthodox, but could we have a brief recess? I think that there's a couple points of confusion that we just wanted to speak with Mr. Leach about to come in. I think it'll make this process smoother if we can talk about a couple of points of clarification with respect to these elements of the plan. Would that be acceptable?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you have a hard copy? Hard copy of the plan.
Regardless,
Is that okay? Thank you very much.
Give you 5 minutes?
That would be perfect, and again, I really appreciate it.
5 minutes.
I'm not going to discuss it while we're on. I wrote to Russell Baker with no answer.
I've been to one of these meetings, and this is the first.
I love that house.
Are you familiar enough?
His little house.
Different regulations here. So the neighbors.
Russell Baker's house is beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a great
there.
house. I wish he was here to talk about his situation.
But do you see neighbors in
I
this?
texted him too.
Who are not part of that.
And for a minute, I wouldn't go for it.
I mean, supposedly approved.
Well, talk about it.
Everybody
Sure. Yeah, I think, Betty, I think maybe you should, if you want to share this, you should share it either with me personally or yeah.
You have, Betty. You did submit something to us in that regards, yes. But that would require a change through the bylaw itself at a town meeting.
Yeah, let's just stop this.
Yeah, I know.
It's easy, of course.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're back. We're back. Anybody in the hall? No? Okay, please continue.
Okay, so basically, it was just an emphasis to say that, the existing deck is actually lower than what this deck was on the existing conditions, because it's two steps down from the, as opposed to one, and that the existing area here is lower than the previous existing conditions, I guess. He just wanted me to emphasize that point. I'm not sure. I know Mr. Bryant, I know what he's saying, we're squaring it off. That's correct.
Well, you're adding a wall to receive this squared off section, which means that you have a giant retaining wall.
Yeah, it's 4.5 feet high. Give or take.
Well, it's not 4.5 feet high, right? Because it's 16.
From the existing grade, though.
Which where?
So it's squared off here, it's elevation 15. We're talking 17. We're talking 16 and a half at the retaining wall.
So the land is much higher at that point, so the
Yes.
wall doesn't have to be as high.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, it's squared off, and now we're dropping down to a flat patio.
Well,
we're flattening off. a patio.
but the I'm looking at the contour lines here. It's 11.
Tim, can I just interrupt? Maybe for the...
I'm looking at a slightly different drawing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we
Yeah,
should
you're looking at
get the drawing up there that
So
you're
if you
looking
look
at.
at squaring this off, right? Right. The elevation here is 16 and 15. We're talking a wall elevation of 16 and a half.
Right, but right here,
It's 15.
you're actually building out to here.
We're coming out with a set of steps, correct? We're starting at grade.
But this is the edge of where your patio is going all the way out over here. So it's 10 feet right there. That's your contour.
So this is elevation 15, 14.
Okay, so you're 2 feet above that.
Foot and a half.
Uh-huh.
Well, the wall is foot and a half. The wall is 16.4.
Can I just make a suggestion? Sean, when you talk about elevations, forget about the elevations.
Okay.
Tell them where the grade is and where the wall is.
Okay.
Everybody can understand if the grade is here and the wall is 2.5 feet above it, they can all understand that. Okay?
It's part of the reason why I keep saying, when I'm standing next to it, how tall is it?
Okay,
Because
okay.
that's,
I'm sorry.
no, I get how it's drawn, but I think that in order to really understand the impact of what it looks like, it's helpful to have that reference point. Thank you, Jeff.
David?
One problem is that all of that surrounding earth and soil has been moved or removed, and so when you say what the level was, That's an estimate based on photographs or
No, an actual survey, field survey done by engineers.
before the work was done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the contour lines are here. This is the,
That's the real
that's what was there
thing.
before any
Yes,
construction.
so if you can picture this, so the elevation here is 17 to going out to where it's, we're called upper patio area, which is squared off from the house here.
Yeah. Okay.
It goes from elevation 17 to elevation 14 and a half. The height of the wall is 16 and a half, so that's like 2 foot, worst case scenario, and maybe a half a foot up where the grade used to be. That make it clear.
How far down is it from the top of foundation?
The top of
The
foundation
house-
is 17.2, so it's about 7, it's one step down, 7/10,
Okay.
about 9 inches.
So, can I ask, this wall here,
Okay, go back here. Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah, so the wall on the south side of the patio,
This one, or this one?
not the pool wall, yeah, the patio wall.
Yes.
Okay, to the top of the railing, from the top of the railing to the grade, how high is that?
To the previous grade?
No, to the existing grade, because the existing grade on the low
So the-
side of the wall, on this side right here. So,
Okay, so it's about elevation, previously, before the work was done,
Mhm.
just so I'm,
Yep.
we about elevation 14, that elevation will be about 19.
Mhm.
So that's 5 feet higher than what the previous was. That makes sense. But it kind of, it's kind of a thing, that round, with a rounded slope here, so it picked up very quickly to elevation 17.
so
In
you,
other words, this squared off section here, the slope came around like this, and there was an existing retaining wall coming out here, which kept the grade. So there was an existing retaining wall here, which kept the grade higher.
yeah, it's okay.
Right
That's the
here.
retaining wall.
We're squaring it off over here. So it comes across just below, like, extension of the greenhouse, and then squared off with this face of the house. It's about 3 or 4 feet down here. So the elevation here is 12, but there's a retaining wall that jumps it back up to 15. So that retaining wall had a 3-foot height to it, give or take.
Do you have any photos of that?
I don't think I do,
All right,
because I got involved after the fact. I have a picture of the, maybe this is
okay. I'm just trying to imagine what the presentation would look like if you weren't building a pool and you were building this whole patio deck, and whether that would be visible from a public way. Would it not be the same issue as what we're dealing with the pool?
I don't understand your question.
Well, let's say you didn't build a pool deck area at the same height as a patio as we had before, because everything was unified. Let's just say that you built the retaining wall around the upper patio area. That would be coming out of the ground significantly also, right?
So, this is the best I've got, this is the only thing I have. This is the as-built of the septic system.
Yeah.
But if you look up at the top of the house there where the grade
Yeah.
is that high, right behind the set of bushes is where that retaining
Oh,
wall
interesting.
drops
Okay,
off.
interesting. Okay.
That's the best, I
Yeah, yeah,
got
yeah.
involved after the fact, so that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
only picture. But looking from what you can see how high
Yeah.
that elevation was. Obviously, this is getting squared off with a retaining wall there, and it
Yeah.
drops down to the
Yeah.
lower patio in this area.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all.
No, it's helpful just because it looks natural and looks like natural grade coming down, and it seems just
Actually,
fine.
with a raised septic system.
No, I understand.
Which is here. So we do have a photo that is near that area, so we can use that as a reference point.
That's a new wall.
That's a new wall.
But that wall was angled so you could get into a basement under the house, or what was that for?
There's where the, so this is, again, this is the, what's called the existing conditions prior to this application. This greenhouse is elevated, and it's kind of a walkout greenhouse on this level.
Lower, below
Yes,
that.
correct. That's like
So-
elevation 11.
And how did you get in? How did you get in through that?
Through the
through
side.
that?
From the inside.
Yeah,
Yeah,
through
yeah.
the side. So this
Yeah.
retaining wall held back that
Allow that
elevation.
to do that.
Right.
So really my point was you take that wall and put it back in and butted the pool terrace to that to make it all one contiguous space. So now we've dropped one area. We still have this retaining wall that is new, that is added, that is visible, right?
Correct.
That's part of this composition, but we haven't contemplated what that means. All right, that's my point.
Understood.
Yeah.
Sean, have you finished your presentation? I'd like
I think
to get
so.
some.
Thank
So, I'd like to get some input from the public. So the public hearing is now open. If you'd like to speak, I think the best thing is to come up to the podium, state your name for the record, and tell us what you think.
Good evening, my name is Martha Sears. I wanted to pick up on the opening comments about the public way aspect of this project. I've been sailing the Westport East Branch and West Branch for over 30 years. And the tides were perfect today, and my boat was on, where am I? This side of the bridge, and I sailed up the West Branch. And forgetting about tonight's hearing, I have to say, over the years, sailing along the point has been fantastic. You know, the grade goes down, it's soft. The Historic Commission has done a great job keeping things in check from Main Road side. In all due respect, what Bronca's pool or construction or what have you is just a complete eyesore from the river. I sail a Marshall Sanderling. I haven't seen any pictures of what it would look like from the public way, but I would wonder, and I would be interested in seeing what this proposition is about from the Waters Way. It's really clear even though it's gray. And from a public way standpoint, I think that it'd be a sorry addition.
Thank you. Anyone else? Betty?
Betty Slade. I'd like to ask Tim, what is the point that he's getting at? What has to do with the plans presented tonight? What is your issue with the plans presented tonight? Is it because existing isn't showing, or what are the ramifications? I'm trying to understand.
Okay, so you have a patio area that has a deck height, and you have a new retaining wall.
Yes.
that is put in to receive that new deck. Prior to this proposition of dropping the pool deck was aligned with this upper deck, which made an even longer, tall wall. So right now we're focused on dropping the pool terrace down to have a lower elevation so you see less of it. But we're not actually thinking about this other wall that we're not even paying attention to, the wall that holds up the patio terrace. So conceptually, imagine that this building has no pool terrace, but only has a patio terrace retaining wall. So visualize that you're going to see a big retaining wall around the house that we're not really focusing on. We're focusing on the terrace wall of the surrounding pool as being out of the ground, because that's the most sort of egregious visual element. But there's still another visual element that we haven't addressed, which is this other thing, which is this additional retaining wall. So break it into two pieces, because that's what's been done. Sean has dropped it and kept this upper level. My question is, well, the justification of keeping at this height is that we had a top terrace over the, or a height of, 17 feet, then it sloped away where the septic system was. So the justification is that's existing grade, and we'll just flatten that off all the way out. So what's happened is this retaining wall has gotten bigger the further it goes away from that small piece at the top, which is kind of like a crown. So in this kind of case, it was not considered that we would move the elevation of the upper terrace down to reduce the height of the retaining wall. And what was stated was that we don't want to dig down, so we're going to go up so we don't have to encounter the ledge rock. So it was contemplated we build everything at the same level because everyone wants a walkout pool deck and a walkout patio area. So in this case, and I've seen very difficult sites with ledge rock, and people do things where it's called cut and fill. So you move one part from one area and you move it to another area and you balance the difference. So if we were at 17 feet at the top, and you come off this top deck and you step down just a bit, that's really convenient for the homeowner, but they have all these steps now down to the pool. So what if you split the difference and drop this top pool patio deck down another 3 feet, you would reduce the retaining wall height, you would add a couple of steps at the top, and you would connect the upper patio cooking area to be closer to the pool deck height. So it would be sort of more balanced. You wouldn't have all these steps everywhere. And then from the public way, you wouldn't see this big retaining wall. Does that make sense?
Are you basically saying that the approach you're talking about would be more appropriate than the approach that they've used?
Yes.
And that is for the reason is the height of the wall?
Yeah, you're going to see a wall. We're focused on the wall of the pool right now, which is great. Let's cut it down. I think you can cut it down a little bit more and it'd be better. And the issue, but if you cut down this upper patio and put some of the steps up the top, I think that would be, if I was designing this, that would be my solution to my client, because I think it would feel better.
Could I ask?
And it would solve this problem.
What I heard Sean saying is that the depth of the pool is a question.
Well,
would that is that a thing that the commission should consider? The depth of the pool?
Yeah, I think I don't think we have.
I don't mean that they should. I mean, is that an important? It's important for the homeowner, of course, but
yeah.
What difference does that make to the commission, is what I'm asking.
Well, if they come back and say we can't dig down and it's going to cause a great deal of noise and everyone's going to object to the digging because they want an 8-foot deep end, that could be considered a hardship, possibly. But I think that should be explored. Yeah. Not the purpose of the hardship, but the depth of the pool should be, I think, probes should be made so we could figure that out and not come back and say we can't do it. therefore we need to put a retaining wall back.
Right.
Right? I mean, we don't want that. No.
David?
David Cole, following up on this discussion, I haven't gotten close to the pool area, but I've had the impression that the base that they've dug out for the pool has run into ledge rock, and that there's a lot of rock down there. And I'm wondering what you're whether you're planning on blasting that out, or how you're going to, if you're going to lower the pool to have any depth to the pool, how are you going to achieve it? Is it a real problem, I guess? Is there a rock problem? And if there is, how are you going to deal with it? And what would be the ultimate results? And until you do some exploration of the rock, depth and density, etc., isn't this all speculation?
No, theoretically...
Well,
sorry.
I'm talking to Sean.
I'm sorry. You were looking at me, yeah.
If I may, I'll be happy to have your comments afterwards, but it's a question to Sean.
I don't want to repeat it, so I don't think it is.
Sorry.
That's okay. But can I respond? Let me ask Sean this. Were you involved in the pouring of the concrete retaining walls?
No.
So theoretically, whoever poured the concrete retaining walls would know where ledge rock was, because they would be the footings would be on what?
I'm not sure.
They're not.
I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there, and I don't
No,
know
I know.
if they hit ledge.
I know, but my point was, you would know where the ledge rock was if you were pouring footings, right? Because
if you're going down 2 feet,
well,
straight up.
no, but footings have to be more than 2 feet, right? Footings have to be below frost line.
Right. Well, the plan was to grade up and around to lower the wall and lower the wall.
No, I understand, but they still have to sit on something. So was it dirt or was it rock that the foundation was put on for that? And that would tell us where the ledge rock was.
Yeah. The only
Right?
information I have
Yeah.
is when they did the septic system, the existing septic system, they went down 30 inches before they found a suitable soil for a footing.
Yeah, but that's for a footing. Okay, so there was no rock encountered.
No, because obviously there's a septic system there. They have to be, have a certain amount of separation between the septic system and the bottom septic system and the ledge.
All right. So,
But because there's a significant amount of ledge, it's hard to say where the ledge is.
but you're not designing the pool, are you? You're just doing, okay.
Chair Struck, may I make a suggestion? So we're here tonight on a plan that has a pool at a certain location. To the extent it turns out that it's not feasible from an engineering standpoint because of ledge, we'd be happy to come in on another application before the board.
Okay, I think that's fair, yeah. I mean, I think there is a question about the ledge and what you can do, but I think it's...
I think I should point out, and I just want to see from a visual effect, and this is something, I think. This wall that we're cutting down to is 12 and a half. The wall on the north side is at 15.1. The existing wall on the neighbor's pergola is 18.3, which is 2 feet higher than the 16 and a half now, and it's twice as close to the water. So visually, I'm not saying this is ugly, but if you let it get finished and faced off, what you see here and what you see here would be identical.
Well, would they? Because that's a loose stone wall, and you're going to put a veneer on, so they will not look identical.
No, it's going to be a true stone.
Is it? It's going to be stacked up against the side of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's a wall, and again, there's a wall out towards the water that's higher than the wall that's here, and it's closer.
But isn't that part of this whole grade scenario here, where it's sloping away and doing different
Not really.
elevations?
If you look at this is 16.5
Yeah.
here on this wall, and it's 80 feet from the water.
But that's is that an existing stone wall?
It's existing now, yes.
Yeah, well, it's
But what
not.
I'm saying is, visually, everybody's worried about visually. I mean, right now, we're looking at a concrete wall, and it's not very attractive.
Right, but.
Because it hasn't been able to get finished.
But
What I'm saying is, if you let it get finished, it looks like what's in the
I
neighborhood.
think the difference, though, is, I think there's a significant difference between the property that we're discussing, where the home is, and the sloping, rolling down to the water, versus where the property to the the abutter property there, right? That home is at the end of the lane, closer to the water naturally. Like, I'm looking at the back of their home, right? It's just, the position, the position of that home is completely different in relationship to the plot line than the, right. So it's just, it's a different, it's different property, right?
Yeah, this is much higher.
Yeah.
But
It's also a much smaller lot, and it's closer to the water. It's not on this rolling downhill slope.
I think it is.
But does it have anything to do with this new construction, right?
No, what I'm trying to point out is that there was a discussion about the visual effect
Yeah.
and what, these things are. And I'm trying to point out as a part of scale that you've got a 7-foot wall here, 82 feet from the water. And there's no problem with it. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. What I'm saying is what you're looking at here is a concrete wall. It's not attractive because it's not finished.
So, Sean, one of the changes, though, that you made from previous presentations that you were not part of, but now this one, is that you're actually going to construct a brand-new stone wall in front of the, whatever the remaining concrete is, that once you cut it, there's going to be an actual stone wall built in front of it.
I think when we were January, you mentioned that before, we weren't cutting the wall down, but in January, this is going to be real stone in front
But
of
it was
this.
clad with stone before. Now you're going to build a stone wall.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
and then to Tim's point, where he was talking about this retaining wall that is, he's looking at as a very separate project, retaining wall for the patio, the new patio, how will that be treated and
Same way.
finished?
Can we go to 3 of 5 so the commission can see what I'm talking about, and maybe everybody else, because it's sort of not clear.
This sheet 5,
3 of 5.
3 of 5.
Yeah, can you zoom in at all a little bit on what's happening? And just go to this, and if you can scroll down to the patio and then scroll up, yeah, right there. Right there. So move over just slightly this way if you can.
Tell me when to
No,
stop.
no, the other way.
Okay.
Other way. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Right. I didn't bring my pointer with me, but can I borrow your ruler? Thank you.
You don't spring.
Right. I've got scratches. It's not mine.
Well, no, it'll move.
Right,
Well.
so we can understand from the diagrams what's happening, which is the proposal is to cut the pool deck down to here, where it was. Oops. Sorry,
Yeah.
I touched it.
Sorry.
Touched.
Very.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll just go over a little bit.
I won't touch it.
Yeah.
I'll just zoom in slightly. And then scroll up. Perfect. I won't touch it.
Okay.
So
Agreed.
the prior height was up here, right?
Yes, 16.4.
So we now cut it down to here.
Correct.
But this was the pool deck prior, and this was a terrace deck up here. So when we cut this down, we're still going to have all of this retaining wall right here that we haven't been thinking about. That's my point. So now we've got this down, which is great, and you can see it's a little coming out of the ground a little bit down here, and it's fine. And this is our railing, which we haven't really discussed, but we understand what that is. But it's really important to understand what this is, because that is going to be much bigger than what was there. And this used to be sort of a green sloping wall with bushes hiding it, and you could barely see this retaining wall at the back that was next to where the greenhouse is, which is really here. So the greenhouse was down this level, and there was a retaining wall that kind of came out obliquely from the side of the house that had bushes on the top of it, and then it sloped away. Is this correct, or am I describing it correctly?
Well, just a correction. So the greenhouse, the top of the greenhouse is here, the
Yeah.
walkout.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So the walkout was here, and there was a retaining wall about here that allowed you to get into the greenhouse. And then that retaining wall kind of came out like that, from the side. And it sort of, I don't know what happened to the lower portion of it, but from the house, you would come out, and there was this green sort of hill where the septic system was. So what we've done, instead of keep the green hill, we've now created a big deck area here with a big wall on the side of it. So this is good. This is what we should be looking at from, if you imagine that this application was really not about the pool deck, it was about adding this patio, you would then say, is it visible from a public way? And is this area here visible? I believe it is, right?
Yes, yes.
So that issue is the thing that we should be focusing on, because this is good amelioration, a mitigation. And this, I have a question whether it's really doing what we want it to do and whether that's acceptable.
I just have a question. I just have a
Jeff?
question. For Sean. I'll get over here. This gray, all in here, and then this line on top of the gray, does that represent the existing, I mean, the grade that you're proposing?
Yes.
So in other words, as you come up, there's this wall right here, that's, I didn't touch it, I came close. This wall right here, that comes up to there, that's the pool wall.
Right.
So that's, what, about this high?
At the worst, it's 3 feet high in that far left, and then
It's about that high,
it goes
that
back
stone
up.
wall's about that high, you can see. So then the grade starts sloping up.
Correct.
As you go up.
Naturally, yes.
This side, you touch it that way. Up as you're going up. And then it levels off because there was that landing there.
Right.
And then it comes up here again. I think this is screwed up.
Yeah.
It came up here again. So this is what you'll see on the side that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So all these little stones.
The big fat gray line you see is what you would see if you saw the stone wall. In other words, I'm not showing the property line wall, which is what this big fat gray line represents here.
That's that wall on the property line.
Right.
So everything below this dashed line right here, you don't see.
Correct.
You can't see it from the right of way, which is out in the water. And you can't see this anyways from the road.
Right.
So,
See the weekly, but the concept
oh, maybe you'll
in
put
the
this.
scheme.
The chair running the meeting.
Yeah, so that's the line of the wall, but my point is that this is the grade, and you were asking about where the grade was and what you'll see. So you'll see what you see on this drawing. Those little rocks,
Yep,
that's exactly what you see.
yep.
What's the elevation of this up here?
The patio is elevation 17,
17, and what's it down here?
about 12 and a half.
Okay, so it's.
The wall height.
4.5, so this right here is 4.5 feet. So that's what's above grade, and probably from my mid-shin is how much is above the wall that's literally 8 feet away from it.
Well,
That's
10 to 12, yeah.
10. That's the property line wall. So that's the height of that wall that you're seeing. So you see this on the side, and then down here, you'll see that wall is this high.
It's
That's right.
actually lower, but yeah, you won't see the wall as you go towards the water.
Right.
Yeah, I just wanted to
John,
say that.
yeah, John, would you mind?
I'm sorry. I just want to dwell on because of this word elevation.
Can you start again, say your name and then
John
your
Moriarty,
statement?
and I'm one of the interveners. The idea of the interveners getting to something that we thought we could live with was to have that wall mirror the wall that's between the property lines in height, not in elevation, but in height. So as that goes up, and then we used to have the elevations at the top and bottom of those walls. The walls get to be they're 3.5 to 5 feet tall. And this wall is similar to that, not exactly, I'm not trying to match it, but the idea was that it mirrored that wall that is between Sally's property and the Bronco property. That was the concept. Now, up or down a foot or two, I can't say that. That is what Jeff recommended.
Are there other comments from the public?
I do have a question with Sean. Sean, over here. Hi.
Sorry.
You're quite a fellow to put up with all of this, but thank you.
Used to it.
I've got a couple of very simple questions. The total square footage of the area that you're adding against the total square footage of the existing construction, are you adding more square footage than you actually have already on the site?
Are we adding more square footage?
You know,
So the site as shown here, I don't see proposed.
Yeah.
The site as shown here is larger by this area than what was there. That makes sense. In other words, this, I don't want to call it a wash, but this was already raised, this patio. So let's say 1/3 of the patio area in the pool would be extra.
the question I'm asking really is, the house is an existing house. It's in scale with many of the other houses. There's no issue there. The sum of other outdoor areas, the total of that square footage appears to me to be greater than that of the house.
That's correct. That is correct.
So getting back to another issue, it's just, I'm trying to listen to everything, as we all do. The scale of this, for activities that probably are very important, but versus the interior activities of the house, the scale of this seems out of proportion. And to a landscape in a historic district that otherwise has a very different sensibility, a very different feeling, my sense is that some of the reactions here really have to do with the fact that, and from the water as well as the land, that we're really creating something too large for the context. And the context is an historic district, because we have watched this community grow through very small additions of rather small houses. And this is the area that we're trying to preserve. This is the area that we're trying to preserve as the historic. And even if you did each of the things you want to do in scale, the total product is going to be out of scale. And I think that may be, we're all trying to assess why, there are usually a few supporters, usually a few I haven't heard any supporters at all.
Right, and so the house is approximately 3,700 square feet. We're adding 4,000 is what the kind of total footprint here. If we remove the landscaping, it'd be a little smaller. So we're looking in the ballpark of doubling, I'll say, for lack of a better term, what is there. But I can tell you, from my experience of living in Westport, that there isn't a house that hasn't done that on Westport Point. That just as a different thing. Now the problem is when you do a pool, it's automatically a huge jump in area. You're gonna put a pool in, and it's not a huge pool, it's not, but with that and an apron automatically jumps it up. The scale gets big. No matter what, if you had 3 acres here, it would be the same thing. I understand your point about the scale of what's being added to the house, but I've seen things get added to houses at Westport Point much larger than this.
The scale
I'm not sure if
in
that's
any
true.
historic district is necessarily at the scale of the hand of the producer. There are no big machines 250 years ago. But it's just that the appearance, we're talking about all the vertical issues here. But I think it's really a horizontal issue. I think it's just very, very large, and maybe not even necessarily as large. It could be smaller and still have a pool. For a family, you've got 2 decks that could probably take, either of them, take the whole neighborhood. It's just scale, and it's not in scale with the historic district, the historic homes, the rhythm of the whole.
I have a question. What is your definition of an in-ground pool?
That's a good question.
Right? So most people's definition of an in-ground pool is the top of the deck is flush with the grass, and then you have a pool fence around it. Right? So if you were going to build a in-ground pool on a flat piece of land, what would it look like? Right? It would probably look like it's flat with that. So in this case, we have a plinth that it sits on, so it's technically not in-ground anymore.
Well, it would have been in-ground on the upper part, but not on the lower part. Because it sloped down 12 and a half.
But theoretically, you could have a very lower elevation at the western end of it, and you could have a very low wall around it that could be a retaining wall, and it could this end of it, the east end of it, would be much lower, but you wouldn't see it. It would be behind that. So the pool fence would be at a much lower elevation that it's proposed to be at. So we're seeing that out of the ground because it's on what I'm calling a plinth, because you put it on retaining wall, because we cut that down. So in my opinion, it's not an in-ground pool at this point. It's sort of in a plinth. Anyway, just wanted to bring that to your attention.
I mean, just to address,
Yeah.
if I could.
Yes, of course.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. This way to address that. I agree with you, but it gets to a point where you can only lower it so much on this side because of the septic issues and where the drain, you can't cut into the septic system.
Understood. Okay, well, that's a good point.
Because, and then when you have drainage from the ground, and then right now it's graded so it drains past the house.
Yeah, but
you don't want to create a bathtub.
No, I know, but if you rotated it, you wouldn't be that close to the septic system.
That's possible.
So there is that as a way of mitigating that.
Because the existing grade, right now, you've got a foot of wall showing on that.
Yeah, you could also reduce the size of the upper patio, rotate the pool and move it closer to the house and have that solve the problem also. You could also extend, I mean, there's a lot of things you could do differently to reduce, A, the scale, B, the limiting factors of the septic system and the grade issues, right?
Eric, you had a question? Comment?
Yeah, so Eric Hill is my name. Under the new plan, what's most prominently visible is fencing, right? And I understand that the fence around the pool is subject to very strict requirements of the building code and so on. But the fence around the patio presumably, could be chosen by the builder. So I'm wondering, have you considered looking at some of the historic fences around the neighborhood and thinking about something that isn't so modern looking with those cables, right? In principle, it seems it should be possible to have a historic looking fence, and with the goal not being invisibility, but rather like being consistent with the rest of the neighborhood.
And the answer is yes. We could look at that, but I think it would be more visual impact. I know the cable fence is very popular. It's nautical. People think it's nautical looking. I've never seen a rope that was clear, but it's very low impact visually for everybody. You don't see cross members and that type of thing. That's why we went that way. If you went with a wrought iron looking fence or something, I mean, the house is not historical in any way, shape, or form. It's not a.
This is an opportunity maybe to make it more historical, right?
I don't know as much as we do to make this historical looking. Burned quite a few years ago. Yeah, but burned.
It's a raised range.
Other comments? So I also have a concern with the size of this, I mean, not just the height, but the mass. And I know you were referring to the neighbor's patio, which is 400 square feet.
Right.
This is 4,000 square feet, over 4,000 square feet.
I mean, we all know whether, we want to recognize it, this is existing and we're trying to get to a point where it's happy. There's not much we can do, for what we're showing here, and I understand that. I mean, we try to address the visual concerns from the public way, the looks from wherever. I mean, obviously you can't see it from the road, you can see it from the river. I tried to bring up a picture, for some reason my pictures won't load, and I'm not sure. Your picture, for instance, of the saw cut. But I also took a picture from the beach parking lot.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and I wish I could bring it up, and for some reason it doesn't want to load, I'm not sure why. So, but if you look at where, if you cut it down from like across the river, like from the Cherry and Wet parking lot, I took a very easy picture, you wouldn't see this wall at all. The wall that's on this side hides it completely. You would see the patio. I'm not, because you can see these windows on the house.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna see through the wall. And with fencing being what it is, you wouldn't really see a lot of the fencing either.
Well,
and the whole point of this basic presentation was to come to an agreement to try to, as much as we could with logistics and what we're trying to do here, cut down the visual impact or the impact that we see from the river.
I'm sorry, again, I've been sailing the rivers for over 30 years, and I have to tell you, the most amazing sail like I had today was, you know, coming around the point, going past Drake, going past the harbor master, going along the point. It was amazing. It's like Cherry and Webb, people who park in Cherry and Webb aren't looking at the point. It's when you sail along the point and you see the homes like that. That is the public way. It's absolutely extraordinary. Cherry and Webb's a great parking lot, but I just...
Well, you're not sailing in front of this house because it's not in the water.
No, but I see the back of it, and I see the back of the point, and I'm not the only person who sails it. I'm sure other people kayak. I love the point.
I love the point too. I've been using the water from the point for now 64 years.
Yeah.
So, and I used to have green crab pots, I can tell you all kinds of stories, go on and on, blah, blah, blah.
Sean, can you bring up 4 or 5? Thanks.
Garrett.
Oh, John?
Again, I'm John Moriarty, homeowner on the point and represent the interveners. The task.
Yeah, we want to see
sorry.
The
task that we tried to address was dealing with what's there today, not what was, I think all of us as interveners would have preferred to see nothing. But with what we have there today, we tried to come to an agreement, and we do not think we have any authority relative to this group. This was a question of, we don't have any particular expertise as it relates to architecture or antiquities, but we were trying to get to something that the neighbors could live with, if you can live with, and what you can live with. And we leave all of that adjustment to that is entirely in your hands, and so we don't think we have any overriding opinion on anything. All we were able to get to an agreement, which took us a year and a half to get to, which is something that we think we can live with. We're not all happy, but we can live with it because it's an accommodation that works for what the homeowner was trying to achieve in uses. We're not trying to make any comment about the fact about what you have authority about, what you think you should have authority about. There's nothing in our opinion about that. But this change in elevation, both getting a couple of steps down from the house for the patio and getting 4 feet additionally down for the pool area to make the vision from both the adjoining houses and from the sale be much, much better than it is. The unfortunate thing is that if you look at it now, you're very concerned about what it will look like at the end. There's no question. But our thinking was that if we matched this up with the abutting properties from heights, that was as good as we could do to get to something with what the existing condition is. And that's why we came to an agreement with the proponent that we could live with this. It doesn't mean you have to live with it, but it means we feel as if it was a reasonable accommodation. That doesn't mean you have to think it was reasonable. Thanks.
Zoom in a bit. No, the middle drawing, yeah. Thank you. Great, perfect, thank you. Yeah, yeah. So this is what we're going to be seeing, and that is the upper deck with the railing on it. And the lower pool deck, as we just heard, is certainly much better as a compromise, right? Still not great, but the issue that I'm really focusing on is what we're seeing behind that, because it's coming out of the ground. And as one of the members here, public, pointed out, it's going to have a railing on the top of it too, which is going to, if it's black, it would be very visible. If it was stainless steel cable, it would be less visible. If it was a white picket fence, it would be very visible. I don't see a real reason for it to be historic in nature, but the point is you're going to see this big retaining wall on the right here, not that, right here, this giant retaining wall coming out of the ground, and it's going to be very visually jarring. So I suppose I'm sort of suggesting whether or not that can be lowered, because it's in similar condition as this existing retaining wall that we're proposing to cut down. So there's nothing inside it, hasn't been backfilled, and it hasn't been completely constructed yet. So there's an opportunity to reduce that down and reduce the differential, which is, to me, visually jarring. The size of the whole complex, I don't think you'll be able to see, and I agree it is giant scale, but you can't see the scale of it. But this kind of announces the fact that this is a large-scale project by this tiered effect. If you were able to split the differential, that effect would be it would be affected. It would be less jarring visually. So that's my kind of point.
So you're saying the retaining wall is something more
drop it down, so there's less of it that we're seeing it, and it will be less of a massive sort of mega complex, if you will.
I think until you break the pattern, though, the straight line is so different from anything else here.
Yeah, well,
if you broke that up, the scale naturally falls down.
I disagree. I think it's the retaining wall below it that you're going to see. And if that was stainless steel, you wouldn't see it. It would be shimmery. Right. Or if it was glass, it would be glinty. But, you know, picking that is maybe a color thing also. But it's this.
Just to be clear, there's stone going around, wrapping around this whole thing.
Well, so you're going to see this layered, tiered effect, which you don't see anywhere at the point. You're not seeing layers of retaining walls. It's like riprap. You know, you've got a balance of that, and then another one here. And it looks very engineered. So it is not in harmony with its surroundings. Whereas if you were able to reduce that down and sort of, I don't know, split the difference, it would be less visually jarring. Take another 1.5 feet off this lower one and drop the other one 2.5 feet, and then you know you're closer to something which would be sort of maybe. In my opinion, that's my professional opinion.
You're saying drop the upper 1.5 feet.
Something, drop it so it's not out of the ground as much, and then, you know, then you have a compromise, right? Right now, I think we're sort of seeing, as the abutters are saying, oh, we worked hard to get this to be this height, which you have, and you've done it, and it's good, but they've been focused on that, not this. And I think that's what's important. At least that's my professional point of view.
So Tim, are you also saying that the upper deck should be cut back, or should be cut down?
You could do both. You could do both.
So it sort of comes out and then down again and almost terraced.
I mean, if you were sort of reworking it, you could do both. As Sean is saying that there is all sorts of issues with ledge rock. We don't know. We should talk to the excavator, see how far down that was. You could turn the pool, move that back, and reduce the extent of the whole thing if that was the intent. This is a fair compromise.
Tim, I appreciate your willingness to try to help solve and troubleshoot and, right?
Yeah.
But I guess I also sit here and think, I love a walkout basement. I love a walkout basement. My house doesn't have a basement. I can't have a walkout basement. And at some point, sometimes when you have a piece of property and you site the home and you do something with the home, there are things that you can and really shouldn't do, right? You probably can do anything. Whether you should or not is a different question. And I guess I'm just struggling with where we are right now, where we're trying to troubleshoot when we're building an in-ground pool on a ledge with a large patio complex in a small historic village. And I guess I'm just struggling with what are, like, is, you know, part of what we're trying to do, or are we, like, I mean, are we saying, hey, collectively, if you do X, Y, Z, then we're fine? But I don't think that we can brainstorm ideas, but I still don't think we're at a place where we could say yay or nay.
Yeah, my reason behind my questioning is, yes, you could do anything, and this is what would happen if you did anything, this proposed scheme, right? And I'm saying that when you work with restrictions and you work with the local zoning ordinance or the commissions and you have to get approvals, you have to meet their approvals. So we can go back down that path and understand that. If the brief was for it to not be visible from a public way, what would you do to solve that problem? And this was not done with this. And the problem was solved by just building retaining walls and putting the pool in. We don't know if there's ledge rock because there was no excavation done and there's no test pits done. We do know that they put foundations in. It probably sits on whatever ledge rock. Maybe there is no ledge rock. Maybe there are pockets of boulders because this is all glacial, right? We're at a glacial fill. It's not all solid rock. We're not in sort of Maine coast. So it's possible you might hit a few boulders here and there, and you could drill into those and bust them open, and you can get a very nice pool. So my objection is really, this thing is kind of big, and it doesn't fit the Historic Commission's rules and regulations of what should be appeared visually. And I think there is another solution that would make it appealing. I'm not trying to come up with it. I'm trying to give ideas about if I was to solve this problem, and I've had to solve problems like this, and I've gotten them approved through multiple commissions in different places. Landmark Commission in New York City, Beverly Hills Cultural Heritage Commission, and the Planning Commission in California, Montecito Board. All of these things require the same kind of thing that we have to do. And I'm just suggesting, because of this experience, I'm seeing what could be done. I'm not suggesting what should be done. I just want the commission to understand what I'm seeing as a design as an architect, and how I would address this to problem solve it. And I understand, you know, that, and I would leave it at that. So there's a number of questions here.
Sean, the possibility of lowering the patio. Now, the patio comes out of the house and you go down one step.
2 steps.
Oh, you said before one step.
The existing one was 1 step. We're actually lower than what was existing grade.
Okay,
Three is
how far are you from the top of foundation? To the patio of the top of the foundation of the house?
Yeah.
And then
Go
down.
back to that other.
Okay,
You
how
say
high
it's
is,
2
how much
steps.
higher is
You're going down 2 steps.
Right, so the sill elevation is here, and the patio elevation is 1.5 to 1.7 feet lower.
So the objection was the height of the actual stone wall of the patio. If you lowered it a few more steps, then it's possible, right? We're not talking about ledge or anything else. We're just talking about lowering it.
Right.
That is possible.
Just to be clear, the existing top of wall is lower than the grade that was there existing.
Well, that doesn't, we're not even concerned with that. We're concerned with the fact that people are talking about the appearance of that high patio, which doesn't seem necessary to be that high.
It was lower than the existing grade.
I think that the fact that you're saying that is true, but visual is not true, right? So if it was there and it was lower, you had grass coming down over the septic system with a bush on the side. You can't really tell what was happening. No one could really see. So yes, that might be the case. But we're not putting it back you didn't really get permission to build this wall the height that it is. It just came up with everything.
No,
so it didn't get proposed to the commission that we're building this retaining wall that we used to be at the same height. So it's not like a grandfather thing issue that you're suggesting. It is something that we're focused on this pool, but we're not focused on these other components. So we break it down into pieces to solve the problem.
Just to be clear, the retaining wall that was there was higher than what is there now.
That's okay, but look at the way that everything drops off. So it's not an apples to apples comparison, really.
No,
so
I just want to be clear that what we're looking at.
I mean, I understand, but it's a little disingenuous to say that it's sort of the same. It's because it's not. It's an entirely different thing. Because and I'm not sure if everyone understands this, but all those tight contour lines at the bottom that are held by that retaining wall that's coming out at an angle made this look like it was actually natural, even though it was hiding a giant septic system, right? And that was built up over time when this house was probably put on here. But the natural grade is not that, and it's an artificial grade. So what you're saying is we take the artificial grade and put a patio on top of it and build a retaining wall to hold it, and then we'll stick this other thing on the end of it now and at a lower level. You still have a thing that does not feel natural to the property or the area. And it's very angular as well. So seeing all these things multiplying, the sum of the parts are greater than the whole in this case.
Sean, does the patio have to go in sync with the pool, or can it be less? So, does it have to be
in alignment,
aligned as the pool, or could it be a smaller patio? Is that a possibility, so it doesn't line up exactly with the pool, so it looks like it's... Because the pool is very low.
All the walls are poured, and they're poured based on the design of, if I may, it could be, but it wasn't designed that way, right? So
it wasn't poured that way, no.
No, it's not poured that way.
So you can't change that?
Well, you could. You can cut this off and shrink the whole thing, so there's less of it. But that's, if you're cutting it down, why not just why don't you consider reconfiguring it in a way that works, that everyone's going to say yes to? Because I don't think I can...
Smaller as well as...
I can't say yes to this tonight because it doesn't fit what I can say. You're getting there, it's good. I think there are creative solutions to this, and maybe getting there we can analyze.
I think the bigger problem here is, everybody sees this concrete wall that's been sitting there for 2 years, and the visual aspect of that is what's affecting what's going on. If you put a stone face on that and you're looking at it, you can't tell if there's an angle to it or a square.
I think you could, and I beg to differ. I beg to differ, because that will not look like any other wall in the area, right? It'll look like a wall.
The wall from the north is 5-6 feet high.
No, it won't look like a farm wall. It's going to have concrete, it's going to have stainless steel ties on it, it's going to have mortar in it, and it's going to be anchored to this wall. All these others are not built that way. It's a completely different feel of a wall, right? And it's going to be big. No, there are no farm walls around here that are this tall.
The wall on the north is that tall.
I'm talking about the patio side.
On the patio side, the wall's 4.5, 5 feet high.
No, it's not. On this side here, it comes out of the wall how far?
Well, I think Mark was making the point that the horizontal scale goes almost an equal amount as the house itself. But I think his point is it's very large. Look at this elevation.
Yeah, well, it's a slightly different point that you...
The house is only that wide, and this goes all the way across.
I'm just talking about what is the height of the wall from here to the top of that, right? 16.4? Anyway.
If you just shorten the whole thing, it would look a lot. If you cut it there, that's more in scale with the rest of the size of the house.
Sean, I think we've heard a lot of words, and we're running out of them almost. but I think there are a couple here that could summarize this. This is a residential setting. It has a residential scale. And then it even has a more refined scale because of the means and the ability to spend time constructing it. So scale, but a residential scale, I think I heard from the water, this is a commercial scale. And that's an offense in a historic district, no matter what way you cut it. Residential and commercial.
I'm not sure I understand your reasoning there.
Well, it's just, commercial is to enclose as much space as you possibly can so that you can, on that space, basically create harmony more with profit than with appearance. And in this case, we're not looking for profit, we're looking for harmony.
Sean, could you bring up sheet 4, please? Take a look at this.
You want to see the
Yes,
picture?
I'm looking at the photograph.
Look at the photograph of the wall, that's my point.
View from the window.
So on the left is a rubble wall that is slightly inclined as a retaining wall. And your wall is it going to be battered like that one, or is it going to be vertical?
It's going to go right up against the concrete wall.
Well, I know. So my point is it's going to look like a vertical face. It's not even going to look like what, you know what a batter is, right?
Yeah,
So
this is fairly vertical because of the...
It is, but it's not that high. And you're saying, well, it's actually the same height. But I disagree that it's going to look the same because the way it's built is not the same. Not all stone walls are equal. If you look around town, there are some people that can build very nice ones and some people that don't, right? And so this one, when it's got some, it's going to have cement in between it, right? Probably.
Could be dry laid.
So
Dry
it's,
laid. He's saying it's dry laid.
is it going to, well, it can't be
I'm not
dry,
sure if it's dry masonry
it can't be dry laid unless you hide it from the back. And that's going to be tough. And then you're going to have a thickness of the veneer about whatever the rock size is. So you're going to have at least 18 inches of rock.
That's how all walls are built here. I mean, if you really go around here, all the walls are built dry.
No.
And some of them are cut stone, some of them are piles of stone.
No,
some are stones that all just stick together because we have great
I understand.
people here.
I have hundreds of them at my house.
I disagree though with your statement that you can't put these stones up against the wall and you can't make it look like I can show you a number of different walls where it looks just like
I disagree with you because of the way that it's made. It's not a dry laid stone wall on a concrete backup. It's going to have to be tied into something. Whereas you can come at my house and look 3 different types of stone walls. Some are tighter and more dressed, and some are rubble. You're telling me that this is going to look the same? I don't believe you.
So, Sean, can you address this? Do you have a detail of how that wall is going to look?
I do not have a specific detail other than a statement that, it's going to be a stack, there's going to, instead of a veneer, like a cut veneer type thing, it's going to be actual stones along in
A
front.
built stone wall.
And just leaned against the concrete wall?
Yeah. It'll, like, because of that, it will stand up. It's not going to have a camber of 40 degrees or something like that, by any stretch. If that's what the concern is.
Well, let's assume he can build a stone wall in front of this concrete structure that has been cut. I think what we were talking about earlier is the scale of the structure itself. If you look at it horizontally, it just seems like it's too big against the house itself. If it was less square feet, it might be more attractive for the house and from the river. Because that's a very large, I think what people are saying is it's a very large structure. Even if it's cut, it just goes horizontal for a very long time. And then the patio that Tim was talking about earlier, the patio will align with that horizontal line and make this continuous visual that's much larger than the scale of the house. Longer.
So Sean, we haven't really talked about the equipment area yet, which is not being cut down.
Correct.
And it looks like that's about 10 feet tall? Well, I don't know, I'm just measuring from.
It's about elevation, it's 16.4, it's the same elevation of what the wall is all the way around. But.
From grade. I'm just measuring every drawing.
From grade, it's about 5 to 5.5 feet high at the top end. This is expected to be graded off, so it'll be about that high. But it's an equipment room to hide all the peripherals for the pool and everything, and that is a better solution. There's no other, having it out in the open isn't a good idea, obviously. So.
I mean, but to me, it contributes to the sort of haphazard feeling of this whole thing, that you're going to have that equipment area box, which I guess will also be faced with stone.
Yes.
And then you'll have this lower wall, and then you'll have a fence, a barrier fence around the pool. What's the height of the barrier fence compared to the equipment area?
It'll be low, so 12.5, or it'll be about the same height, a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to walk out over here. It's hard to see from this angle, unfortunately.
So the walkout has to be, what, 8 feet?
Walkout's at 10.5, so walkout is 10.5.
10.5.
So the top of the wall is 16.5, just gives you a scale, so 6 foot.
So the wall, top to grade, where the walkout is, what is that?
6 feet, but there's already existing foundation wall there too. Just so you're aware of that, that's what's holding up the house over here. This existing walkout, in this wall, the foundation wall is 17 feet, slightly higher than the wall that's existing poured, or whatever you want to call it.
That doesn't make it okay, though.
No, but I'm just trying to.
No, I understand that if you're working from an existing condition, then there are assumptions you can make, but,
Because the existing, this dash line you see that we're facing is the existing foundation wall that holds up this whole side of the house.
Yeah, but you could have, I don't know, what's to stop you from putting the equipment in a pit-ish, right? 18.
Get back to the ledge and all
to,
things.
well,
Yeah.
we don't know if there's any ledge because no one's done any exploration of it.
I mean, it sort of defeats your attempt to make this look like a stone wall, because you've got
The crowd.
kind of a fake stone wall that suddenly goes 4 feet high.
Yeah.
It's as though there's a little room.
You say at the equipment area, if something goes 4 feet higher?
Yeah, it's not the
Something
equipment.
jumps up.
Well, the option is a pit or exposed equipment. I mean, we can hide the equipment behind the shed, I guess, and everything is a whole different thing, but.
Yeah, well,
Adding another stone wall and at the equipment shed, and it's a different height, I think Darren's.
Like a terrace wall here, out here?
Well, you're gonna
It's just too much stone wall.
yeah, you're going to see that through the pool fence as well. So the pool fence is not it's not transparent, but it's not solid.
Right.
But you're going to see that as well, and it's going to, all these railings and everything else. And then we haven't even gotten into the lighting. This thing's a large construction, and it's layered, right? And it's not broken up. So visually, you've got these long swaths of horizontality that are not consistent with the character of the neighborhood.
I have a question.
Anyway.
Have you taken a look at that little area that you're talking about, the mechanical room? Person, you take a load out there or anything, take a look at it?
I can go and look at it, but I can see it.
You can barely see it.
Well, you can't see it from water.
So no, you can see they're cutting down in the front.
Yeah, but
and going, if you're talking about that back side that comes off of the building, There's bushes there, there's also another retaining wall buried in the bushes, so.
Yeah, that's not the point is we can see it from the water, not you can't see it from the side or your butters,
What I'm
right?
saying
That's the
is
issue.
If I understand, maybe I don't understand it, but if you're talking about the wall that comes out from the building, that's extremely hard to see, even when you're underwater.
I'm talking about
Which part are you talking about?
the wall that has equipment area written on it. I mean, it's a wall that runs north-south, right there.
Is that high also?
That's not being cut down, so
Yeah,
so that's
picture was
high.
taken, I don't know, 3 months ago.
Yeah. If you can see the part on the right from the water, you can see the part on the left from the water.
Talking about further back.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but the concern is, as Commissioner Stuck said,
So Betty Slade, what I'm hearing are two major problems. One is the size of it, and the other is the walls around it. And my question is, does the commission have any suggestions on what they think that would be acceptable? I know that I've attended all these meetings these years, and the big argument that I kept hearing was the height of the wall. The size of it was mentioned once or twice, but it wasn't emphasized as much as the height of the walls around it and what it would look like. So this is, already sort of like this. Are we saying they have to tear down part of it? They're agreeing to cut the wall in like that, but do they have to take down part of it also to satisfy the commission? I mean, I'm not happy about the whole thing, but we do need to, I think, have some guidance here, if possible, from the commission.
sorry, can I?
Well, I just want to correct the record that I think we have had concerns all along about the total mass of this.
It was, that's true, it was talked about, but I think from the viewpoint of the people attending, it was mostly what we could see was the wall. I mean, that's how most of us looked at it. But I agree that it's very large. I think you said specifically the size of it, the house is about the same size as the house, or bigger. So what should they do?
Well, I'm not as concerned about the size of the area coverage, because horizontally you don't see the entire area. What I'm concerned about is the various heights.
That's what you're concerned about, but Mark was concerned about the area. Right. So now we have two major problems.
Well, they're not necessarily problems, they're observations.
Well, I mean problems for getting approval.
Yeah. So.
Well, I think what Tim was bringing out, Betty, is when the wall gets cut down, then the patio becomes a much more prominent feature that is very visible from the water with a lot of different materials. Being fence on the pool, that's a requirement, and the railing, and they're trying as hard as they can to make that railing disappear, but it's still 2 levels now because you can see the second level as a second level, and there's a very long horizontal line that you're seeing through the river, and all the other walls are, they're perpendicular to that line. They're not horizontal, they're going toward the water. This wall will be going along the water, so it's a very different look from the water. All the other walls slope down toward the water, and this one is this horizontal structure of wall and patio and fencing. So it's got a lot of different levels. That's why the comment that Tim is making is, as a result of the wall being cut, now you're seeing other elements that you didn't maybe focus on before. So that's, I think, a valid discussion to have.
It's also not necessarily solvable with landscape, right? Because then you're going to have a reinforcement of its horizontality by planting, unless you put all sorts of different shapes of things to distract the eye from the fact that you have this large horizontal band. But the planting would be helpful. I see a tree on this drawing. I don't know what any of this is.
We can't consider plant material.
Yeah,
in our
no, I understand, but I'm trying to imagine it with and without.
Let me throw this out at you, just
Yeah, yeah.
for the sake of, because my preference, and this is without Rob's consultation, so, was to grade it out more as an oval slope and have the landscaping so it would look more natural coming up to this.
Yeah, that might be, we haven't even gotten into that, but that could be a solution. So,
Because, you know, when you have, like you said,
well, if you have this horizontality everywhere, it's going to really be very, very obvious, despite the height of the wall.
right. Because, you know, so if you pushed out the grading to an oval type slope and blended it in with the septic system, it would look more of a natural type landscape.
I mean, you could
It's not
also.
as harsh a line.
Well,
Yeah.
you could also put sort of a planter as well. You could put a planter at the end and change the shape of everything. So you could build another lower wall, like the retaining wall or the wall next door on the neighbor's property, so it looks like a dry laid stone wall, and that would soften the horizontality of that.
Yeah, you mean coming down.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
had proposed that at a previous
Well,
one.
you know, you get rid of the harshness of all these corners and edges, and, you know, you have a very softer
If they propose similar to what's going on next door, like
Yeah,
a rounder stone wall that goes into the landscape.
Exactly, you know, and then you visually you're deconstructing this horizontality.
Right.
So, anyway.
But I don't know if that's not going to address the scale in any way.
No, but it could break
No,
down the
it
scale.
minimizes the harshness from the river.
Yeah,
Otherwise, as Mark was saying, it looks very commercial.
It could break down the scale, so.
Breaks it up.
The problem with doing that is that the Historical Commission really has no say over and the bushes, et cetera. Therefore, they don't have, next people who live there could just take them down,
Yeah.
and you'd have nothing to say.
Yeah.
It does seem to solve, this has been discussed several times before too, but it's just not something that you have any.
I'm not talking about landscape, I'm talking about walls now.
I thought you were talking about bushes.
No, we moved away from that.
No, he was talking
Just
about
moved
making
on.
an oval.
Yeah, I'm suggesting using potential retaining wall that breaks up the horizontality of the long pool retaining wall to soften it. That's all.
So, Tim, are you talking about
Right here, just.
replacing one of these walls?
No, I'm talking about adding to it.
Then you will. Have a high point here, and blending the slope here. having
See this?
a Terrace effect.
Yeah.
Doing something like that here, right? See this,
exactly.
like this?
Right.
Imitates the neighbor.
Put that there, and then suddenly you've hidden this, and it could be planted, whatever. So, anyway.
I have a question or a possible solution to some of our issues. I think that a fence going around that pool area is hideous. Okay?
Is what?
Hideous. I know you have to have something
Yeah.
for for code, but a fence is not the only thing you need. You can use a stretch system to have a motorized cover go over top of your pool, and that you can actually walk on it, and it's approved by code. So you don't even need a fence.
Yeah.
And when you're not using it, it's closed all the time, and when you're out there with supervision, it's open, and you can close it whenever you want. It's been used elsewhere in this state, so I'm sure that that could be something, and if you ask the owners to do that, they might,
well-
I don't know what they'll say, but
Well, we haven't gotten to that point, right? Because
but
you're
it
going.
takes care
Well,
of
it-
this huge horizontal, I'm still talking, sorry, this huge horizontal issue that I think is really that black fence going around. And now if you eliminate that, then you truly have like a terrace landscape rather than, because the upper one kind of disappears. But you have this terrace landscape rather than this scar going across his land. So I think that could be a good solution.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, well, how high is that pool deck off that? Because you need a guardrail if anything's over 18 inches.
Yeah, they have that designed as those cable rails.
No, I know, but the removal of the pool fence and the replacement with a cover or retractable cover doesn't necessarily.
It's 30 inches in this thing.
30 inches? So that's.
That's how high that is, 30 inches.
So you don't need a handrail for anything over 30 inches high?
Right.
So maybe that's a solution.
You just grade it, I think you grade it to make it less than that, right? You go out-
Yeah, you grade it, exactly.
You'd
You
have-
grade it, you make it less.
Then there's a solution.
That would really simplify the.
It
whole-
would.
I think there was a pool cover in the original plan, wasn't there?
And it's a recent change in the code. The code used to mandate a barrier, the term that they used. And then these covers have become, I guess, dependable enough. I have a cover on mine. My son was very upset about his house in concrete, and he has this cover on his, and it does not need, specifically does not need a fence around. Just on it, so current code.
That's a good suggestion.
So are we looking, I mean, obviously we're looking to continue, you're not gonna make a decision tonight or a decision that we're gonna apply.
One more question.
Yeah.
If, in our negotiations, we pushed and pulled a lot on both sides to get to something that the interveners could be happy with. I mean, I guess the simple question to figure out where we're going, if the pool side selection section can be dealt with in this way, and if we can satisfy the fact that we can get a hand laid out wall that will satisfy from a visual, our argument is that it would be like the walls next door. So that's the test. That's what it has to look like. Right? Then the question is, if the upper deck were reduced by a couple of feet, would that get you to a point that you could be moving forward? And I just put that out there because we've kind of, Betty's bifurcated the issues and we've solved it, we got close. I suggested you have to vote yes on it. But we bifurcated, we figured out some of the pool and the lineality of it. If you reduce that next piece, in height.
Or like this, or like the upper deck is what, 4.5 feet higher than the lower terrace?
Right now, yes.
So to cut that down even a foot, that brings it down to the scale of a 3.5 foot wall. Right?
So, John, what you're saying is, would that, cutting that upper deck down satisfy the commission?
Yes. Is that the direction?
Well, I think it would go a long way
I'm trying to
to,
get forward. I'm not trying to.
no, but I think it would go a long way to satisfying the commission.
So when you say cutting it down, you're saying when I walk out of the house, instead of walking down 3 steps, I might have to walk down 5 steps or 6 steps in order to get to the outdoor kitchen area and then walk down an additional X number of steps to get to the pool.
Yeah.
And so by virtue of lowering
Yeah.
the deck,
Yeah.
we're lowering that wall.
Yeah. And that, unfortunately is one of the problems you have with this kind of design problem.
But is that true? Is the outdoor kitchen, isn't it going to be tucked next to the house? Or
Yeah.
it has to be?
So now what's gonna happen is, you're gonna be looking into, you're gonna be sitting at a countertop that basically the foundation of the house will be here.
Yeah, that's.
Well,
Which doesn't really, it doesn't really work. To me, it doesn't. I know, but just, the whole point is when you have an outdoor to go in and out and what have you.
Well,
There's also window wells
you
don't know about, but there's window wells all along those 2 walls. And the terrace has a glass piece on top of it, but it allows light down and in. Now, if you're talking about bringing it down, I wouldn't go as far as what was supplied over there. I might drop it another foot. I wouldn't go any more than that. I'd like to keep it maybe to 3 steps. I would 2 feet down instead of 1 foot down. I would say a total of 2 feet down, and that would allow them to keep their light going into their basement windows, which is important down there.
I think it's 3 steps now.
It's 3 steps down now. It's
Jeff, on the
1.7
plan.
feet from the
I said
sill.
it's 2 before.
Yeah, well, from the sill to the patio, proposed patio.
1.7 feet.
1.7. Almost.
And so is the idea to get to the point where you don't need railings between the upper terrace and the lower terrace?
No,
You can't get
You
there.
can't
You
get
can't
there.
get there.
there's no way.
And those roads aren't that bad. Those are kind of,
You still need a rail around the patio.
Sean, can you point out where those skylights in the deck are?
They're along here. Yeah. I've got a picture, I believe.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, page 3.
Page 3.
Yeah, I saw them in the picture, I just didn't know where they were.
Garrett.
Yep.
Garrett, Mr. Chairman, I think we've got dozens of concepts here, and I don't think in this setting they're going to be reduced to enough to truly inform Sean and the owner and so forth. My suggestion is with as many variables, we can go on for a great deal of time. We're not respecting the fact that we have 3 or 4 other people that want to be covered, that they should, they're very good listeners. Sean, you're amazing. But on the other hand, in time, I think you'll figure it out because you've got a lot of interesting feedback, useful feedback. And that I would propose that you use that now and come back again and display all that wonderful intuitive grasp that you'll have with the feedback.
So I think we're still having a productive discussion, and
Yeah.
I don't want to cut it off.
A few more minutes, yeah. I think it's worth it. It seems like we're getting.
I think the idea of using the pool cover to possibly eliminate
the fence.
Eliminate the
Black
fence in the lower
fence.
part.
That helps a lot.
That would definitely reduce the visual impact. I mean, of course, there's going to be all sorts of furniture on these decks.
And, yeah, I don't think it necessarily going to look exactly like this, but it's going to be a sitting
Yeah,
area.
no, but there'll be, I'm sure there'll be walls and sofas and whatever.
But the other good change was the pergola was eliminated. We had a
Mhm.
concern about the pergola, and that's eliminated.
If we tuck
So
the
that's-
and this is my mistake, but if we tuck the pergola up into that corner, would that be a problem? We're lowering the deck. One of the things that was concerned with the pergola was so high and it was.
Where are you
Well,
going to put?
if the deck is lower, then the pergola is lower, so that
Okay.
follows.
Well,
That
it's not going to
might
be.
okay.
It's not going to be that lower because the top of it is going to have to grow so it doesn't hit the windows at the upper level, right? And then you're going to have lights on it. So those lights are going to be part of this whole complex. So that's something to consider.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 2,000 square foot patio with no shade.
That's a problem.
Also, I wonder about drainage. I mean, where's all the water going to go from that?
I mean, well, it's going to trickle down to the lower level and then obviously keep going where it's going. But you can put drains around the pool. You have a patio, there's not much you can do. I mean, you're talking not a lot of, I know it's 3 inches of rain like we've been getting. There's going to be a lot of water pouring off of that. I mean, it's obviously going to be pitched to drain it, but it's just going to go onto the patio, the pool patio.
Go to the pool.
Right. Eventually, it's going to run, but you can put a trench drain along the bottom of the wall and catch the water.
You're going to have trouble taking your pool deck material, stone or wood, and connecting that with your stone wall on the exterior too. It's just, it's fine, it doesn't matter, it's not relevant.
What's the proposed material for the deck? Is that patio deck? Is that materials you've called out, or is that?
What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it on my phone, I have a picture on my phone, so it's like a paver type system.
Because that looks like wood decking or
Yeah,
stained.
it's going to be a paver type system, right, Rob? It's a stone. He emailed it to me, but I couldn't get it on the computer for some reason. So.
I'm the proponent. That is coming out of the house 3 steps down. It was 1 step down previously, and it was pressure-treated lumber that was all decaying. So we're going to replace it with composite, replicate the light wells that are there. And Jeff's point about the light wells is a good one. because they're also concrete foundations. And that, lowering that upper patio would expose those. And I don't think that's anything anybody here wants. So when we designed it, the idea was replicate the patio and the grass area where we could have just put a patio, and that's about what the size of that upper patio is. We spent a lot of time in hearings, 3.5 years, and a lot of the conversation was about the height of the walls and needs to look like the walls around it. We took that into consideration, yet we spent a lot of time trying to figure that out. John came out to the site a few times. He brought some other people out there, and we came up with where there was nothing that was bigger than what was around it. The top of that equipment vault is level with the wall to the north. It's not any higher than that. And the new lower pool deck is lower than the wall to the south. So we thought that was a good solution. And everybody looked at it and we all agreed before we put together the plan and brought it to you. I take your point about what would be, I suppose, a new wall, bring the pool deck, between the pool deck and the upper deck, but there's gonna have to be a staircase there. And we're proposing a granite staircase. And I also take your point about the wall to the south up against the house. The wall that was there was bigger. You know, again, we lowered it from what it was. I could have just done a patio where it was without anything, but we decided we didn't want to do that. We could replace that wall with a railing and expose those granite stairs, so that would lessen that impact. You would still see the stone wall to the inside. And that was John's suggestion, was to replace it with a railing. It might be it'd be less expensive, but it might also be less visually impactful. So we said, oh, we'll consider that. So I think that's something that would help mitigate that. On the corners, your comment about the corners, we had through various iterations proposed, there are a lot of boulders on site, using those to create, to mitigate that grade. And we could do that. I mean, we could do that fairly easily. And with the landscaping, and we could do that, and we talked about doing that. Jeff came out to the site, John was there too, mitigating that, particularly that southwest corner, because that's the biggest part of that. Of course, that's pushed in now. So those are all things I think we can address without having to create new problems by further lowering that upper patio. And to Mr. Bryan's point about the scale, you don't really see it. All you see from the water is going to be the stone walls, which are going to be staggered and made to look in scale with the walls around them. And I think I think that addresses what's been brought up here and resolves this once and for all, so we can all move forward. We don't have to talk about jurisdiction. We don't need to deal with the courts, what I can build, what I can't build. We tried hard to come up with a compromise. Now, the reason we can't do test pitting, first of all, it's stop work order, so I can't bring equipment onto the site until we all come to some sort of an agreement. Secondly, there's an almost fully constructed pool and spa on top of that. That's filled in. That is filled in now. That's all going to have to come out, which I'm willing to do, in order to get to that compromise and to get the walls to the appropriate height. Because that was the overwhelming commentary over 3.5 years of meetings and hearings, was that wall's too big. I think we came up with a good solution, and I think it'll look good. And again, it's jarring to look at a large concrete wall, but when the stone, I already have the field stones. We got them from around here, from construction around here, new septic systems. They're exactly the same stones that are there, because that's where the stones that are there came from. They're sitting in a yard in Westport. They've been sitting there for a couple of years now. I still have them. The mason I have is a very good mason. In terms of how they adhere to the wall, they will do it with, you can do a dry system that has more you can't see. I have some of those at my other home. I think those are all good common sense solutions to get us past where we are. And again, we can eliminate that lower fence with the pool cover. Willing to do that. We're considering that to begin with. We had to have a barrier at the top anyway because of the fall protection. And I think, again, the fencing was to mitigate visual impact. We looked at glass fencing, a low lead glass that's not reflective. You didn't like that, so we switched to the cable. There are other cable fences. Fine, again, we're trying to meet people where they are and do what we can to make this work. And I think that does address a lot of it. And again, those boulders on site on that southwest corner, and then plantings, make a bed and put plantings on them, I think mitigates that. But again, that southwest corner would be lower. And again, if we can't do a pool, we won't do a pool. That's okay. I mean, if it's physically impossible, we won't do it. Again, we're willing to make that compromise. We want one, you know, I have children and young nieces and nephews in the area, but if we can't do it, we'll do our spar, we'll live with that. And if we decide we want a pergola later, we'll have to follow.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
For your explanation.
Could you explain again how you're going to get the wall to here?
So what they'll do is, we've done it before on other projects, where they'll cut the stones or shape the stones so that they can adhere to the wall, and they'll use mortar, which you won't be able to see. It'll look as much like the stone walls around it as it can possibly be done by doing that. But that was always the plan, was to do that. It'll just be smaller walls now.
Okay, I'd like to talk a little bit about railings. So the railing in the upper platform, you expect cable railings?
That's what we're proposing.
Cable system, and yeah, I'd just like to get input from the commission, maybe from the public about that particular choice.
I mean, I think from a distance, you don't see it.
I think it's,
You see it
yeah,
from the-
I agree. And I've seen it done, and it does work, and you don't have lots and lots of railing.
It does look very modern, though. I mean,
Well-
if you do see it.
Well, I
Yeah.
do,
Yeah,
I
it's
do
not
want to
historic.
note that the Park Service requirements for historic districts is that projects that are alterations have to match the house, not the things around it. So in that respect, it is conforming with the law.
I mean, the
I
house
don't- I
is
don't
not
s-
historic.
Yeah, I don't see the house as a historic thing, artifact. So the modern railings are just part of what the house is. So I don't have a problem with that.
When was the house built?
1980.
1980?
So it's more or
In the
less.
1980s.
I mean, think about the historic district as having periods of historic construction. So we don't need to copy all of that and make it be the same, unified. So I think you could easily do a cable railing, and I think the thing would reduce the apparent scale of the whole thing at a distance.
How about, I mean, it does add to the horizontality.
It does, and I do think that the height of that upper terrace is much too high, and that's going to amplify that. So I don't think it's, I don't like its position, but I think if you eliminate the vertical pool fence that's down below, I think that would go a long way to make things better as well. So
Quiets it down quite a bit.
no,
Different
immensely,
materials.
immensely, yeah, yeah.
Bill, you have anything?
And I think.
Well, in terms of fencing, I agree. I agree, but I also want to know, would you be using the pool cover then?
Yes.
Is this something that will go into this
We
plan?
can make that a condition, yeah.
Okay, so with the two fences, the fence up above and the pool cover, I would agree with that.
Others?
Other
Mark?
opinions about the fencing?
Extent, how big it is such an impact on the neighborhood, the historic district. It's just the extent of it.
Trina?
Listen, I'm trying to envision, right? So I like the idea of the cable application because it does kind of disappear, but it is more modern. And I think about, there's a lovely home on Valentine with we approved a repair to their fencing. that's up on their deck, and it's not, you know, just a normal, that's a terrible word. It's not a plain application. It has a little bit of interest to it.
It's a lot of vertical, it's vertical.
It's vertical, but it's broken up with boxes, if I
Yeah, it has a
remember
lot
it
of
correctly.
action in the design.
Yeah, and maybe that would be too much for this, right? It's like another thing,
You'd
given
have a
the
whole-
fact that it's 50 feet long by 35 feet long, right? Like, that's a lot of fence.
That would draw your eye to it. rather
Yeah,
than
make it disappear.
There is the glass panel system as well, which is, you know, pretty transparent. I've seen that done with great success. The issue is whether or not it's reflectivity. It's been mentioned we could use a low iron. It could be effective.
Yeah, I almost think of that as being even more
That seems more modern.
obvious, more modern.
It is, but it's more transparent, and is the difference of the cable and that they're basically the same in content. You could make it less modern and have wooden posts in between the glass, you know, and do it that way. Which
We had initially proposed that, and there was a lot of opposition to that, and including with our negotiations, that was something that we said, okay, we'll make the change.
Just so you've got an array of solutions, which one is a better looking solution?
I think both comport with the home.
Yeah.
And as you said, like, that's an 80s design, and it needs to comport with the 80s design.
If it's thin and it's a stainless steel cable, and you put turnbuckles on the end of it, at least you've got, and you could do, you know, wooden mahogany posts between it. You would have at least some sort of nautical sort of nod, and it might feel less modern.
Yeah.
The danger of it is it becoming a little bit more commercial, but you know, I've seen it done and it's effective.
There are several houses up and down the river that have that facing the river, and they actually look.
It's
nice.
not terrible.
There's one right across the room from me. It's actually a relative of mine that has that on multiple levels, and you can really see it.
You don't see it.
I think the important thing is that it shows that is more invisible. I think if doing other things, just the regular cable fence would make it sort of dissolve away. Because you have that long horizontal line that we want to get rid of.
The other concern is my neighbors on Valentine Lane to the north. That's their water view over that. So we did not want to affect that. I mean, I've got plantings there now that I probably trim back for them when we can get back to doing work on the site. But, you know, I let them know before we did it, hey, look, whatever we put up there, you're going to be able to see over it. And that was an important component in the fencing, which is why we initially proposed glass. But cable was what we agreed, so.
Yeah.
But
Is
I think
there a view
that
easement
works.
that we have to worry about there?
I'm sorry?
Is there a view easement
No.
for those neighbors that we have to
No,
worry
it's
about?
just
No,
the right
okay.
thing to do.
Okay.
Any comments from the public about the railing, fencing? I mean, you alluded to some feelings among the abutters.
The original concern with the glass railing, which is of course perfect circumstances, particularly low iron, that you don't see it, except the sun is constantly moving and changing it, so it does have that tendency to reflect. So if properly done, and I don't know the answer for properly done, but a stainless steel cable railing version will be able
Won't see it, yeah.
I agree with that too.
And the pavers we were going to use for the hardscape, I had sent Sean a picture, but apparently couldn't get it uploaded. They're granite, they're about 3 feet wide and 6 feet long. So they have like a vertical look. You can't see them from the public way, only you can only see them from the house. But it would, we wanted it to sort of blend in with the stone walls, to have that same sort of rustic stone appeal, not a modern marble-looking square paver.
Okay.
I might have a picture on my phone.
So I think there are a lot of good suggestions, good
Yes.
ideas that have come out of this. And I mean, definitely the cutting down of the wall is a huge improvement. We've got some other ideas here that you guys could explore. I think we also need more detail about certain things. So what does that countertop look like? What's the lighting on that upper patio?
We aren't proposing any new lighting up there. There's lighting on the house already. We're going to keep that. There's going to be lighting in the pool. And then as Sean
You said eyelid lighting on the staircase.
just for safety, yeah.
Yeah.
Low LED sort of lighting.
Yeah, there also there's some detail lacking with the steps, gates. There'll be gates in those fences and. I mean,
Well, there won't be a gate anymore because the pool's not there.
The upper.
What's that?
The fence is not there.
Yeah, the fence isn't
Yeah,
there.
with the cable fence and the stairs down from the upper, there'll be some
Well,
sort of gate or.
We're proposing now, I guess, eliminating that wall and doing a railing. I would just follow the cable.
Yeah, I'm
railing.
just saying we need some detail.
So you would propose putting the cable all the way down the staircase? basically?
Yes. And I won't need a gate.
No gate. Okay, so those are the kinds of details we're looking for. Other things that,
Well, there was some suggestion about how do you break up visually using the native stone that you have that's there. Where would that be? Would that help to break down the horizontality of this from a distance without landscaping? I think that's something that would be interesting to see.
yeah, and I would like to see an example of this, of the stone, it's not a veneer, but the dry laid stone.
We had submitted that. We have pictures of the actual piles of rock that we collected.
Yeah, but I don't want pictures of the piles of rock. I want a picture, it doesn't have to be your example, but it could be an example.
We had presented those
Does your
two earlier.
installer have
He presented
photographs
those at a
of-
hearing back in
Well,
2 years ago.
Yeah, you had a landscape person
Yeah.
in here a
Landscape
while
designer.
ago, and he actually, I don't think what he gave us was very helpful. So it'd be good to have an example of the person who's going to install it. They probably have examples of this exact wall that they would build for you. So that could be useful, so we can imagine it.
Yeah, and then we would want specifics about the cable fencing. I mean, if that's what you decide to do, catalog cuts. I mean,
Okay. No, I mean, again, most of this is acceptable before you get too far on the path. You know?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would say,
Okay.
Try to incorporate our suggestions. Give us more detail.
So, and on the kitchen, we had not really designed it because the process stopped. It's not going to be elaborate. It's going to be a countertop with a grill in it and maybe some stools that come out in the winter,
Need to know what
in
it
the
is.
summer.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
movable. It's not installed? You said it comes out in the winter?
No, we'll just put stools in front of it.
Oh,
Like
oh,
it's going to
oh.
be.
It's installed.
I would
Yeah.
I would
That's what
also recommend a model, a three-dimensional model of it, so everyone can really understand it. A lot of people can't read plans or elevations.
They do have modular. We did talk about that. John and I talked about it. His son's got one, which then it's furniture, so it's not.
No, I'm talking about a model, not modular.
Oh, you're talking about modeling.
A
the kind of
computer
project.
model of the proposal, so it's easy to understand these complicated issues, make it much easier for everybody to agree on. And there are companies that can do these relatively inexpensively. I know you've spent a lot already on it, but I would highly recommend that as an effective communication tool to a commission such as this. Yeah.
So those particular details, is there anything else that you think you need to know? Sorry, Betty.
You mentioned that you thought that the patio was okay at the height. None of us has said that we agree with you.
The problem is that lowering it further, we've already lowered it from where I could have built a patio before, because the grass was that level. It sloped off, but it went to the end of the house before it sloped off, kind of where the patio is ending now. The upper patio is ending now, except for the equipment vault. Right, and then there's actually a deck off the master bedroom that does go out past the equipment vault at that grade, a higher grade actually. So lowering it further, again, creates additional issues with the house, the foundation, the sills, and the foundation with those light wells. Those are all going to end up getting exposed, which creates additional design, structural problems, visual issues.
It doesn't have to be the entire deck, it can be some of it that's lower, because you're going to see now more of the retaining wall without the above the pool deck. So that, is going to remain an issue, in my opinion.
Well, again, you're going to see mostly stairs, because that's going to take up most of that.
You only have a stair in the middle of it. It's not mostly. It's maybe a quarter of the elevation, or is it half
or more?
He has multiple doorways.
Yeah.
If you look at that elevation.
Yeah, multiple on the pool terrace. I don't think so.
No, on the upper deck.
Yeah, I'm not talking about. You could.
Patio.
Yeah, I'm talking about what you see across the pool deck with this big retaining wall, and you have a very large area that you could potentially terrace, step down another.
Well, that would be creating another wall, 2 more walls. And we're trying to lessen the walls.
Well, you've got one that's very tall, and is one that's shorter better? It's a question.
So he has one that's the bottom one without regrading, which he's going to do.
Right.
What, 2.5 feet?
Yeah, but that doesn't
and
make.
Then the next one's 4.5 feet. So is that the one you're talking about?
Well, the one above the pool deck, right?
Yeah,
That's saying that's 4.5 feet.
John, is that 4.5 feet?
Yeah, 12.5 to 17.
So again, it's in context with the walls around it, which was what we were asked to do, and I think we achieved it. I mean, I know you were not on the commission at those hearings, but there was a considerable amount of work that went into this, and there's going to be considerable expense on my family's part to just achieve this.
Well,
So I think a 3D model would be especially helpful for understanding things like this, understanding the relation between those 2 decks. Betty?
I just want to say that we've talked about walls and so forth, but size. Do you have any comments on the size? Or is that you're accepting the size of it? As in general, if you have not said you should consider something smaller.
Well, I think,
And so
I think we did. I think
Well,
Tim
Tim
suggested
said,
taking.
I'm talking about what you're saying to the applicants now. Are you saying it should be smaller? Or is it okay, now we're worried about other things? That's so that we know.
I'm voicing my opinion on the fact that you don't see the volume of it, and I wasn't here when these decisions were made. So I'm more concerned about what we're seeing visually, and that's what I see my contribution to be. Obviously, if the walls were made smaller, there would be less of it. So making the patios and everything else smaller would certainly be an improvement. But in the effort to sort of try to shepherd a compromise, my opinion is that maybe these adjustments would be sufficient. I do think it's too big, and I think it would be more appropriate if it was smaller. But I don't think that's necessarily what's going to happen.
No, and again, a lot of the previous conversation was the upper deck, right? That's the grade that was there. That's what was there. And then I extended that grade. That's what we did when we designed it. And that was the big problem. So we've fixed that. And I mean, I just don't want to keep moving.
I don't think you fixed it, to be honest with you.
So are
You've
you
made it
saying,
bigger.
Tim, are you saying that this patio here, if you brought it back a bit?
Yeah,
you
brought it
would-
back and dropped it down.
And dropped it down, you still have the same size, but it's
Yeah.
dropped down,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're breaking up the horizontal.
Yeah, but,
And he's saying that there's an extra wall that you have to do because you have to drop it down.
Well,
and
that's-
have another wall there.
And then the effect that you were concerned about is the multi-level situation. That's just going to exacerbate that. If we
well,
have to do
the upper level doesn't have to have a stone wall on it. It's the height of the stone wall that you're going to see. Layers and layers of stone walls is the issue. You could change the material on the upper deck, and that would change its appearance, right?
You mean
If you-
west-facing elevation?
I guess.
So that, well, from the
Yeah.
idea is from the water,
Yeah, yeah.
what we agreed is that you would see
Yeah,
stone
yeah,
walls.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Right.
also thinking about the side elevation
The
of that.
side, right here.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
side.
the entire side wall, yeah.
The south elevation?
South elevation. I mean, that's my main concern, really.
The south elevation.
Yeah, it's
is
all
the
going to be
horizontal
stone,
line.
and you're not
No.
going to, and again, you're only going to be able to see 2 feet of it above the wall that's next to it from the river.
Well, that's why I think a model would be useful.
We have a picture.
Well, a picture's not a model.
Okay, the other thing I think you should take a look at is the equipment room, because to me, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb.
I agree with that.
Well, I think we can do, again, we have boulders, we got to worry about pitch with the water. And again, I wanted to hide the equipment. I can't see it from my house, but the neighbors can see it and hear it. I can't hear it from my house. That was extra expense to enclose it. That was the design. We had the option not to do that. We decided it was worth spending the extra money to do it. Otherwise, it gets exposed. I mean, if I'm forced to do that, I'll do it, but I just don't think it's the right thing to do. And we'll do what we can with landscaping to mitigate that.
You can put a
This
wood
is-
fence around
This
it.
is supposed to have stones in front of it, right? This is gonna be a higher stone wall than this one.
And again, the height is the same height of the wall to the north.
I mean,
Exact same height.
okay. Put a wood fence around the pool equipment.
I
Where
will-
is the height of the base of it? You know?
I lived next to someone who did not enclose their equipment, and having a hamburger on your patio and your neighbor's outdoor equipment kicks in, it's pretty brutal when you want to just listen to the birds.
Yeah.
So I think that, I mean, I agree with you, Tim. So for me, I'm not an architect, could you tell? And so not having a 3D model, it's very difficult for me to visualize. I've gone down to the end of Valentine so I can peek. I've gone over to the wharf so I can peek to try to figure out what this is going to look like. It's hard, right?
Yeah.
And so I think having that model would be helpful. You know, I think Kit Wise put one together for the church.
Yeah, he does these little massive models that are not that hard to make.
Now, I couldn't do a project like this without a model, and I couldn't go before a commission without a model to show them what we're planning to do. And that's the easiest way to, you know, get everybody on the same page. So maybe that's one more step.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
so.
we're making
But I agree
huge
that
strides.
equipment room is important to keep an equipment room.
Yes,
This is a
definitely,
noise.
definitely.
I'm not saying to expose the equipment.
So I think we're probably all reaching the limit of our
Ability to
stamina
think.
for tonight. So I think the thing for you to do would be to ask for a continuation,
Yes.
and we can continue this till the next meeting and look forward to.
Yeah, I do want to make this impression upon you that neighbors of mine have said, finish the project, we're tired of looking at it this way. So in terms of continuances, if we could do a special meeting sooner. You know?
Couldn't we do a
No,
special
I don't
meeting?
think so.
No?
No, in part because I'm going to be away.
You'll be away.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not
So-
gonna get a quorum. August is tough, so we probably should just put it first on the agenda for September.
Yeah.
Can
What
you-
would that date be?
September,
It's on the- on the agenda?
I think it's
September 2nd.
First week, yeah, September 2nd.
I've got it here, no, that's on the 3rd. Planning board hearing.
September 2nd is a Wednesday, yeah, September 2nd.
Six PM?
That's our regular scheduled meeting, yep.
I'm sorry, the date?
Wednesday, the 2nd.
September 2nd.
So, just want to make sure we know everything, so that when we come back, we can...
And Sean can reach out if you have more clarifications, just reach out.
Some of the things we're gonna have to discuss are the detail stuff we're gonna discuss. And then whether or not the whole patio thing, we're gonna discuss too.
Do you want a continuation?
I don't have one tonight, no.
we just
We can
handwrite
do it
one?
on a piece of paper and then formalize it. Okay, let's just do that.
I don't have that paper, except for this.
I have,
Yeah, we could do it on the
actually
back
I
of the
have one that
minutes.
we can mark up, because we have one from the other meeting, right, continuation of the meeting. Just mark that one up.
Do you need a blank piece of paper, or what are you looking for?
Let me find,
Sean, can you do a model?
I have the other continuation form in my file, we can just mark that up. Sign that.
So if Sean wants to reach out to the commission, he can do that? For what? What is the limitation of that?
He can't, basically, the commission, you can't have more than 3 members deliberating on something, so you couldn't reach out to 4 of us.
Yeah, I see.
I'm gonna just copy this and use this.
Okay, well, I've done that before when I was
See, I think that's a good idea.
in a prior version of this. I did that, and I helped people solve problems.
Yeah.
That would
I'm
be,
just gonna copy this.
Right,
that
so
would be a great idea. I think we've done that before on a one-to-one basis.
really, okay. I mean, I've worked with him in the past. Is that a problem? Okay. Well, I might be able to help you.
Very good, very good. I think we all should be
Yeah, okay. Well, that's helpful. I just need to understand the rules of engagement.
Well, you can't.
Second.
You can do it.
Yeah,
I can do it.
yeah.
But we can't have
I see.
I think
Commission sort of
you
gone.
can't have over 2 people or something like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I would just do it as a one-to-one thing. You can't have a committee.
No. But, I can, he's sort of a little hamster in the sense that he's just a septic engineer.
Right, exactly.
He's not designing it.
But as we've gone through this whole thing, Ron has never had a design. He's never had.
Yeah, so this should still be February 5th.
Or a landscape, professional landscape.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
He won't do it.
Historic districts in particular,
In
historic districts in particular,
Now he's
it's wise to
Well,
not
it could have been settled 3 years ago
engage
by cutting it down.
doing what they're doing now.
too overly fascinated with his own style.
And that was presented to him.
It's willing to fit in.
Forget
That's what it's like the university.
7 days before the hearing.
The university really doesn't want to have where the alumni have tours. And you don't want to have something that everybody enjoyed that period of life. And you don't want to come back to one place to experience that. The guys make a different story out of it.
Sean, can you sign this continue?
You want me to sign it? You don't
Sign regular, Rob can sign it. Rob, want to sign it? Whatever you need. We're just continuing this to September 5th. We can sign this, and Sean signed for the last week.
You want me to sign it too?
Sure, why not? Okay, we're continuing.
Are we? Don't we need to move to continue, or we're, because
Yeah, I guess we have
We should
to
do
Yeah,
a
vote to accept.
because
it.
I do just want to follow up. There was a comment that Tim made about making the patio perhaps a little smaller. I also would appreciate that. I think that the scale is still very large for what they are proposing. And so I don't want them to come back assuming that, hey, we're going to come back with a 3D model and everything we talked about and we're good, because I feel that it will get us closer to where we need to be. But if I would not be prepared to say, yes, I am okay. And I know a few people have said that this evening, and I'm not in a position to be able to say that based on what I've seen.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I think we've made tremendous strides.
Yes.
It is so much better, but that's just where I am with it.
Okay.
I don't want to get into legalities, but the laws matter, and the reviews on what you can and can't do, I'm willing to compromise. Obviously, I think I've demonstrated that.
Yep.
But there are certain things you can and can't do. And I think Mr. Stuck has read some of that stuff. Because I've seen him reference it.
Yeah.
In 40C Section 10, you haven't adopted those rules. I think it'd be great if you did. Because then it would be a guideline. Okay, I can go this far, not that far. I didn't have any of that. We just designed what the zoning ordinance allowed us to design. And if I knew that in advance, I would have said, okay, Commissioner, this is what your regulation, your guidelines are. You adopted these additional restrictions, and I designed it to meet the restrictions. I didn't have that guidance. So
Okay, I think we need to move on. We've got
Okay.
another matter here.
Continuance
So,
vote, and then we can get to the next step. Thank you for.
okay. So, next item.
You mean to move to continue?
I'm going to skip to item 4.
Can we move to accept the continuance?
Thank you.
Okay. I make a motion to accept the continuance to the September 2nd meeting.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
Bill?
Okay, roll call vote.
Aye. Mark
Could you
Thompson,
say your
aye.
name and then I?
You did.
Mark Thompson,
You did?
aye.
Katrina Strozak, aye.
Ward Mooney, aye.
Deborah Chialfi, aye.
Garrett Stuck, aye.
William Kendall, aye.
Timothy Bryan, aye.
Okay, the motion passes. We are continued until
September 2nd.
September 2nd. Okay, I
Thank
am
you.
going to, let's see, is John Roy here? John Roy? No. Okay, so I'm gonna skip ahead to item 4, applications for demolition permit. 253 Adamsville Road, Peter Aristide, Welsh Farm. And Len, I apologize, we're required by law to do public hearings before we do anything else in these meetings. So.
Thank you.
I know.
Same.
Okay, my name is Len Potter. I'm here on behalf of Peter Aresti, Pine Hill Farms LLC, who owns 253 Adamsville Road. And they're renovating the farm, and one of the issues, they've taken down the 1950s barn, and now the issue is to knock down the old barn, the older barn. I've given you pictures, some pictures, and these are pictures of the walk itself, not my fault.
We have others that you submitted. No,
Actually,
some.
I didn't go with the name on.
Okay, good.
Yeah, these are entirely problematic, these property structures.
So anyway, the barn itself, we know it's old. It is in poor condition, and the owners don't think it's worth the money to renovate it.
Deborah, could you pass that?
The building looks a little, when you walk into it, it's got a concrete floor. And the concrete floor, what happened in the late 50s, early 60s, the milk inspectors required, this barn has a manure cellar, we call it. So it's got a true cellar under it. So of course, they framed in the floor with 2 by 10 planks, thick planks. And the cows stayed right on that, and the gutters, the manure was wood. The milk inspectors came in and they wanted that covered with concrete. Because when the cows lay down, the udders are close to the gutter. Because they lay down, there's dampness plus the urine. So at the end of it, there's bacteria that could contaminate the cow's udder and therefore the milk. So what they did is they required concrete be placed on the floors and the gutters. So farmers being innovative the way they were, they didn't build any fancy formwork underneath steel plates. They just poured 2 or 3 inches of concrete right over the top of the wood. So what's happened over the years is that concrete has trapped moisture, has trapped the moisture that's in the woods, and then it's rotted away. When the Santos brothers owned the farm, 2 cows actually fell through the floor into the manure pit because the framework of the old floor finally gave way. And you can see that almost in one of those pictures.
Is this the one you're talking about? Where
That's
the
the
cow
one,
fell
yeah.
through?
Yeah, they fell into the salt. Good thing the manure was there to save the cow. But anyway, the owners want to get rid of the farm, get rid of that barn, and they're gonna put up new barns. It's under 61A, it's APR or whatever, so it's not gonna be developed, it's gonna be farm. That's why Peter Aresti bought it. John Earl is here, he's the foreman for Peter, and he runs the operation. It's a beef operation, so they're gonna change things around to accommodate the beef. The dairies are on.
Hayloft.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no cow. When I was a kid, there was more cows in Westport than people. That's gone. So that's the request to demolish the barn.
Have you explored other possibilities? I mean, reached out to people who might be interested in?
No, I haven't. We haven't. We could, but the beams up in the rafters, rather, up in the ceiling, they look pretty good. But I think what saved that roof is the tin. They covered the shingles up with tin. Looks like aluminum sheeting. And
So
that
it kept it dry.
That's kept it dry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of powder post beetles are in there,
Yeah, powder post beetles are in there.
so a lot of rock.
All the way to the peak?
Yeah. Pretty bad.
One
So
picture
it's-
shows
you're
it.
saying structurally not sound now?
What's
It's
that?
it's structurally not sound because of the beetle damage and the rot, all the way to peak.
Well, I
Can't be
assume
safe.
it's on a stone foundation as well. I had exactly the same barn on my property. It was probably built in the 1850s, and it had concrete poured the same way. It had a milking stall on the side. It had the same 6-foot ceiling, and you have all the stanchions for the milking stanchions in there too, right, still? The problem is it's entirely useless as a building. It's really a beautiful artifact, and it's a shame to lose history. But there's not much you can do with it. The ground floor, even if you renovated it, has a ceiling that's only 6 feet tall, right? And then you'd have to lift it up, replace all the lumber, pour a new foundation, put it all on that, and it's entirely kind of economically impractical as a thing. It's really an artifact. It's sad to see it go. It's part of the Westport history. It's what made me fall in love with the area. And my place was a dairy farm, right?
Where's your place?
It's on Cornell Road, you know. The old Clifford Pierce was a dairy farmer. And I've got the Santoses were on there for a very long time. And I've got, who have I got on there now? The guy that took over the Santos farm on Main Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew's got
Andrew
he's got his cows on my land now.
Yeah.
So that place was an operating dairy farm up until the 70s.
History,
and was that
I think that's the haunted barn, if I remember right.
It's the same barn. It's a bank barn, right? It had a manure pit underneath it.
Yes.
And it had side stall on the top, and it had a hayloft,
Yep.
just like this one.
Yeah.
And so that was
Now,
demolished?
what happened to
then?
yours, Tim?
Well, the back end of it fell out, and the floor fell out just like this,
Yeah.
because it had concrete, and
It was eventually
and
raised?
it wasn't really looked after because the people that lived there didn't use it for 30, 40 years, and the rain got in, and it's a beautiful thing to behold. But there's not much you can do with it. I wanted to turn it into a studio or something, but you can't insulate it, and half it's rotten. So it's sad. And you could save the wood, but you're taking Beatles on a little vacation somewhere else, right?
I just like to say that Garrett and I visited the house. We had a site visit, which was requested, and we weren't able to see much of it because of we were not able to get up into the loft.
Oh,
But
Yeah.
now,
that's the one.
yeah.
I climbed up there.
It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But what
Some
I,
pictures of the loft.
according to the inventory, it was built in the 1840s, is that it?
I think the inventory doesn't specifically say anything about the barn.
Okay, so it's possible, what I'm seeing here is not the earliest construction. We certainly are looking for structures that are built in this 18th century, which would be totally different than this. Now that I see this construction, and also the marks on the timbers and the rafters, it's built, it has circular saw marks, which means that it's probably later than 1840, I don't know.
Well, some of that could be a vertical sawing of a watermill type saw. This is a vertical saw
Yeah, I know
mark,
what
and this is circular, so it could be a combination of whoever's milling it.
Whatever I'm seeing here is a circular. Usually you see with a water wheel saw, because it goes up and down and up and down, a very consistent mark
Yeah.
that is vertical. It's a vertical saw. Whereas here, the saw marks are circular, which I don't know when that circular saw came in, but they were definitely using a water wheel saw at this time, especially around here.
Yeah.
So I doubt that it was the original building to the farmstead. And the framing certainly isn't the early framing with the way it's structured.
Well, you got balloon framing, right? So
Right, it's balloon framing rather than, there's some post and beam frame, but it's just a combination of balloon framing. So I'm wondering, you hate to lose something like this because it's very picturesque on the site, but if it was a much earlier structure, we'd certainly be very, very concerned. But I'm less concerned here.
It's worth, what I did with my barn before I demolished it was we measured it, so we had it as a record, and that was a thing that Pete Baker would always say on the commission, before you knock it down, get a record of it. Maybe you could measure it, and have that be something that we have somewhere in the folder. People want to know what an old barn
The
dimensions.
Historical Society might.
Yeah, give it to them and have that, take some photographs of it, so you have it as an artifact at the Historic Society. And that way you've kind of kept it. I had somebody take some really beautiful pictures on the inside of it, and now it's a room that's gone, but it was a really beautiful thing, right? I mean, that's what, these great farm buildings are all sort of, we just love the past, but that's why people tear these things down, because they're inconvenient, right? So
Everything has its time.
I'm just curious, there's also a house on the site. Is there any plan for the house to be demolished?
The
or are they
house
gonna-
is, what do you do when people live there?
Does someone live there now?
It's a duplex.
I'm sorry?
It's a duplex, it's not an apartment.
Right.
What it is you have one floor, 2 floors.
Is someone living there now?
No, they're not.
No. Is there any intention to have someone?
is that old too, or is that a new building? No. I mean, it's, a lot of stuff gets demolished around here, and it's just, we have some good examples of some of the good things that are here. We can't keep everything, but my recommendation is to, take a few more pictures of the outside and see if you can measure it for us.
Yeah, or maybe, there are consultants who will do this, There's historical consultants who would come in and measure it, take pictures, document it.
Do you think they'd be willing to do that and have someone come in and actually document it? Document the
I have to
building?
talk to Jenny from the historical.
Yeah, Jenny could be a good
That's a great
resource.
That's a great idea, because there's many ways of documenting this, from counting every single rafter. Yeah.
Right, these pictures are fine, but it'd be
pretty
good to
good.
get, you know, the measurements so that they can actually make
Right,
a record.
right,
stroke
right.
record. Jenny would be very helpful.
She is.
And if you have any stone posts in the basement or the cellar, I saw some pictures there. Were those concrete posts that were put in? Yeah.
Added after, yeah.
Yeah, I had a few of those underneath mine, and I used them as gate posts. So,
Yeah.
and there's beautiful stone, and the stone foundation too is also
Yeah, it
really
is.
good material. You should be able to sell that to Dartmouth Stone or me. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Bronco might take
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Well, it's great to have that stuff because it's.
Do you have an idea what kind of barn you're going to build there?
At this point, there is no plan until we get everything cleaned up and stop with a clean slate.
So you could use the plans that you're going to do for this building and make it sort of like that. So it's got the same shaped roof, same sidewall, shingle it, and
That's a good idea.
that's what I was going to do with mine. And I was going to have it be, however framed with some steel on the inside, but the outside of it was going to look like an old building. So, I know people want to put just, metal siding on and a tin roof, and that's it, because
It'd be nice to
everything.
have a nod to the,
Well, even if it was the same shape, you were sort of doing something which is, I think, kind of generous to the community in a way. It's just a thought.
Is the building safe? I mean, I know you took,
Not for cows.
I know you demolished.
You're welcome to pick.
Demolished that new part of the barn which was supporting.
Yeah,
the-
some of it, yeah.
And I noticed there were a few supports that were put in there. Aren't there a few?
I saw some, yeah.
Yeah, that was for, we had a couple cattle in there 2 years ago, so we might have put that there to put gates on or something. That's still there, 2x4s.
Yeah.
There's definitely been some restructuring.
No, and there's a hole cut out of the back of the barn
Oh,
where it joined the other barn, right?
With the other barn
Yeah,
tied in,
back
yeah.
of the
Yeah. I'm just wondering about the structural integrity of that. Like
Yeah.
if someone were to go in and measure it.
Oh, well, yeah. That's a good point. Well, people are going to be sort of aware of that, I would
Yeah.
think.
So what's your time frame for wanting to demolish this?
She wants to do it ASAP, I mean, a couple of months ago, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
whatever they have to do.
He's trying to get the groundwork set up, change the driveway around so that they can figure out what they're gonna do with a new barn. That's all.
Yeah.
But I mean, whatever you wanna do, it's fine.
Well, I mean, I guess one thing we could do is we could approve demolition on the condition that you first have it measured and
Yeah,
documented.
yeah, and document it,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then the timetable would be somewhat up to you, right? I mean,
yeah,
if you could
Yeah.
get that done quickly, then,
that's fair enough.
okay.
So moved.
that's good.
I
Do you
mean,
want to make a motion?
Katrina just did.
So moved, okay.
Okay, so let me just state the motion. So demolition is approved on the condition that you first obtain a professional documentation
Right.
of the structure,
yeah.
including photographs and
And we'll
measurements.
submit that to the commission, and then you'll have it on record, and then you can just let us know, yes, it's a go. Will you sign off with the building?
With the building
Yeah.
department, yeah.
That's,
Great.
agree, John?
Okay, so you moved and Katrina
No,
seconded.
no, Katrina moved, I just
He
restated.
restated. Yep, so moved.
Okay. And Deborah seconded.
I second.
Let's do a roll call vote.
Well, you did say something that I just wanted everyone to hear, that some photographs would be a part of the documentation.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Mark
measurements.
Thompson, aye.
Ward Mooney, aye. I'm sorry.
Katrina Strozak, aye. That's
Deborah
okay.
Chiaffi, aye.
Ward Mooney, aye.
Garrett Stuck, aye.
William Kendall, I.
Timothy Bryan, aye.
Okay.
Now, those photographs, the documentation, that would stay permanently with historical?
Yes.
Well, we'll provide the demolition documentation
Yeah.
to the building department.
Yeah.
So they know that you have the permission subject to this
Yeah.
condition.
Well, what I'm saying is.
When you
that
get
the
the documentation.
That we do,
Yes,
the historical committee will keep it. They'll-
yes.
It'll stay with us, and we'll also give a copy to the Historical
Yeah,
Society.
yeah, we do. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And just to clarify, I think we'll issue the demolition permit after we have the report.
Oh, you want to wait to issue
Yeah,
the permit?
yeah.
Okay, so I can note it in
we've
permit.
approved. Yeah, we've approved what we just approved.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we agree with that.
Now, I have one small thing to add. I had two thoughts. One is that you could put an ad in Shorelines and say, you know, free barnwood or barnwood for sale. Or there's this fellow, Nathaniel Allen, who is a timber framer, and he might be interested in the wood.
Yeah.
So I could link you together with him. His father was a great friend of the community and a photographer. Yeah.
I know that.
You know Nat?
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
I went to school with my son.
Oh yeah. So David Allen's son, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So a good man.
Yes, you was.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, we're set.
Apologies again for the wait.
Nice job.
Thanks for waiting. Hope it was interesting.
Thank you.
Len, you gotta get up in 2 hours.
I know, he doesn't have much on his alarm tonight.
Okay, last item. Applications for certificate of non-applicability, 1904 Main Road, John Roy, wooden gate and stone wall. I don't think, this didn't get sent around.
It did not get sent around, and we could review it and
I just
issue
wanted-
it if you are satisfied with the design.
Yeah, so,
Wooden gate and stone wall.
yeah.
That's
So,
nice.
1904 Main Road.
and this is
Wow.
a gray area because we don't have jurisdiction over walls and fences. Is the gate
We
an
don't.
integral part of the fence? But in this case, I don't think we need to decide that because,
Well, they've applied for their CNA,
Yeah.
so we can.
Well, I think this sort of metal cap on the top is not particularly attractive. And that's sort of an additional post because they've decided not to use the pintles that are in the gate. So they've added that. I mean, what can you do? The fact they're putting back a wooden gate is actually kind of great. Mine have rotted out again, and they're just impossible. So I'm like, at least they're putting it back, something in kind.
So it doesn't look, they have that.
this is somebody else's.
Oh, somebody
Yeah,
else's
so-
gate, I see.
Yeah, these stones, these
The
columns
stone, yeah.
usually have a pintle.
Yeah, they have a little
But-
connection.
It's
Where-
hard to
where on the
ask
property is
people
it?
to do that
It's right
because
next
then
to
you
the
have to get a
church.
blacksmith, and Tony Millam's not really
There's a gap in the
making
stone
stuff.
wall. They
Yeah.
want to put an asymmetrical
Oh, yeah.
gate to close the gap.
Right.
You know Cherie and Dick, their house?
Yeah.
They have a gap in their stone wall. They want to put that gate. It's right on Main Road, next to the church.
Huh.
I think it's an attractive element.
Yeah.
It's got some modern elements to it that are begin to creep in over time because of practicality.
Oh, I think this is a mock-up. That's
It's
their
mock-up.
house.
It's not
Somebody
the
else's
actual,
gate.
it's not,
Oh, it's a mock.
It's a mock-up. That's
Cherie's
their
house.
house.
Yeah.
So this is where they want to put it.
Yeah, that's where they want to put it.
Okay.
That's not actually the same design as what they show on the plan. You
Right.
see the extra little vertical piece next to the,
There's an extra post.
there's an extra
Yeah.
post. So
I
it's
see
not
it.
quite the same as
Yeah.
what they proposed. Do you want us to mention that to them, so we don't, I mean, that's what they showed in the drawing versus the.
What, the caps or the?
No, they have an extra post, whereas,
Well, the reason they have it is because they don't want to put the actual stone posts, if they're not just stone posts and it was just a barway, the likelihood is it might have some metal pintles on it, as Garrett was saying. But, you know, that's a lot to ask people to do.
yeah, so this design is acceptable to
I
you,
would
except for
say,
the metal caps.
I would say so, but, you know, if
What do you suggest instead of the metal caps?
well, I would put wood penetrating boat epoxy on the wood before you prime it, and that'll protect it.
And leave it
Yeah.
just flat,
Or you could
Shape them.
shape the
Shape
top,
them.
right?
but not have capital.
Yeah, that just looks like
It's a
cheap
little-
aluminum
it's a little-
sort of
Yeah, this-
thing. It's almost, it trivializes the gate as a kind of a
Too decorative.
decorative thing instead of, we copied something that was down at the point and we're using it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can communicate that to him. I mean, he seems very,
Oh, Deb, sorry.
Willing.
very interested in being historically accurate.
Well, if he is, then he can look at 1603 Main Road. It's got some beautiful gates. They're made with wood pegs.
1603?
1603. Either the main gates to the property, and there's one to the south of it, and then my house has at 212 Cornell Road. They're welcome to inspect that, how it's made. 212 Cornell Road. I mean, I designed them based on something I saw in Little Compton in their historic society. So it had like a nice rounded top on it. So that could be more attractive in terms of that. Or if you, I don't know if I can mark that up and send it to them, but if you send me the drawing, I'm happy
Feel free. Here you go.
happy to make a suggestion.
Want a pen?
Guess so, yeah. I'm on the spot now.
Why not?
Hey, you made Tim
We
Gillespie draw.
We have hours to go.
You made Tim draw a garage
did.
door. The least you could do
I
is.
did. Well, what do I want to do? I think you want to
Get rid
do.
of the cap.
Yeah, well, you want to do something sort of like
And you'll
this.
call Roy and talk to him, Derek?
Yeah.
And then you could do something like this, where the gate, you know, you could do, it's not clear to me how these close, but you could round the tops of these gates as well, just to make them sort of interesting. And then this post, so. You could do something like this. You could do something like that. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. Or maybe that's the square post.
I'll be able to use it then. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
just a thought.
So we might as well vote.
On the CNA?
On the CNA. Yeah.
You want to do a conditional on this redesign?
Make a suggestion.
Suggestion, yeah.
I mean, they can do whatever he wants, but, you know, have a look at a couple more gates.
Yeah, so I think.
Maybe we could make a strong suggestion because it's right on Main Road.
It is very visible.
It's really visible, and I know we don't have jurisdiction, so I guess it can sort of be strong, but.
Well, there are some nice gates that are existent, right, on the churchyard, on Main Road,
Yeah.
right there near the church. Look at that.
This is the CNA, why don't you talk to him? And
Yeah,
then
I
you
mean, he
talk to
seems
me,
very,
and
I mean,
then
he
we'll
wrote
do
a,
it in between meetings.
he wrote a letter, and he's very interested in.
Yeah, so
That's
we don't
great.
have to do the vote
That's
now.
great.
You talk to him, and then we can do
No, I think we should vote.
CNA. You want to vote?
Yeah.
But we don't have the reaction to him.
Let me
And
just.
Katrina feels strongly about it, I kind of do
Yeah.
too.
Now, I'm sorry to borrow your pen. You know,
Well,
how are
just-
these
just
how are
it's
these
right
things
on
put
the
together,
road.
right? So, you know, you're gonna want like bolts on these things. How are they? You could go and see the 1603 Main Road, right?
I mean, I'll make a motion to approve it, subject to changing those caps. How's that?
Yeah. I don't know.
Second.
I mean, I don't want to just approve it without taking Tim's.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I could do is, or we could do is, I could talk to him, and you and I could.
That's kind of what I said, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm listening to
I sorry, I just, you know, I spent so much money on replicating gates and things, and now I've got to remake and two of them because they've all rotted apart. Anybody that wants to put back any kind of gate that resembles something at the point is a rock star as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's very nice little gate there.
It's not, as long as it's not
Never
made
get
out
to
of
hear from Russell Baker, so I'll
AZAC,
contact
yeah.
him and see he wants to do about reapplying. Did he pay $50? I don't know if he paid his $50 for this.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
Want to talk to him?
I'm gonna look in the rules to see
See if we
exactly.
have to have him pay again, because we
Yeah,
did
yeah.
notice it.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
I think that's, what did I do with my agenda? But I think that's it.
Did we need to adjourn, and I don't know if we can or not, do we adjourn to executive session to approve the executive session minutes, or that's done at a different time?
Yeah, we'll do that at a different time, because I did not put it on the agenda,
Okay.
so.
All right,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
We are adjourned.